Liam Xiulai imagined an ideal life where he had everything, money and a successful business. His beloved girl was always there, and his confidence in the future seemed unshakable. But one day he realized how in just one day this idol could collapse irrevocably. Ambitious financier Liam left a prestigious job at the age of 28 to pursue his dream of owning his own cafe. He sincerely believed that he would create a happy life with his beloved, and for some time everything went exactly that way. However, one day he learned that the building in which he had invested all his savings was going to be demolished without warning. Overnight his world collapsed. His money, his home, his business disappeared, and soon his last support was gone. The girl who promised to be there left him, and the millions invested in the business turned into nothing. There was no point in going to court, no way to get back what was lost, and Liam was left alone with his despair, broken and lost. But fate had one more final test in store for him. Deciding to take a look at the ruins of his cafe, Liam was unaware that demolition work was still ongoing. In an instant, a huge crane took his life. At 28, it was all over for him. However, Liam's soul soon hovered above his lifeless body, watching as medics took away the remains. Among the debris, he suddenly noticed a strange golden glow that caught his attention. As he got closer, he saw a kaleidoscope of memories, thousands of images unrelated to his past. These images became increasingly clearer until suddenly everything ended. Liam fell, overcome with fear, and opened his eyes abruptly. He found himself in a university auditorium, and his friend Jang was looking at him with concern, suspecting that Liam was having a nightmare. Stunned, Liam asked his friend in confusion if he himself had died and if Jang had died. Jang recoiled, surprised by his comrade's strange words. Liam wondered if this was heaven. He had tried to live righteously all his life, but why did heaven look like an ordinary classroom? Looking around, he noticed Professor Harry, a man he deeply respected. It was thanks to Harry's recommendations that poor Liam was able to continue his education. But then he remembered. Professor Harry committed suicide in his second year after being falsely accused. Delighted to meet his mentor, Liam rushed towards him. However, instead of a warm greeting, he only received a hit with a stack of papers and an indignant look. Everyone around looked at him as if he were crazy. Then Liam wondered why he had to study even in heaven, and the question seemed ridiculous to him. Suddenly, he noticed Yana, his friend, and was surprised by her presence here, wondering why she died so early. Too many oddities and coincidences made him think. And suddenly he realized that this was not the afterlife or a dream. He was sitting in a finance lecture, the same one he had attended many years ago. As if in a fantasy novel, Liam was reborn. He went back in time, and his classmate noticed his unusual behavior. A friend suggested that Liam had fallen asleep during class, which was unlike him, and offered him money, thinking he was in trouble. Liam refused, claiming he had enough, but his friend insisted, calling it an investment in the future, and he accepted the help. Later, lying in bed, Liam realized that he was in 1998, a student again. The events in his head were jumbled, but now he understood that this was a real leap in time. In that gallery of memories, he even saw the future, including a spaceship that did not yet exist. Liam was overwhelmed with joy. He was given a second chance to change everything, save his loved ones and prevent tragedies, and he decided to pay back those who betrayed him in his past life. Using his knowledge of the future, he planned to become the richest man on Earth. Right at the lecture, Liam began making plans for a new life. He remembered that by 2003, China's economy would take off and property prices would skyrocket, and he decided to act immediately. But without startup capital, investing in stocks or internet companies remained just a dream. Knowledge was useless without money. A classmate noticed his notes with plans and encouraged him, assuring him that with good grades, Liam would be accepted into the bank. Liam smiled bitterly, remembering how after graduation he was rejected from many programs. Grades meant nothing without experience. Suddenly, an idea struck him. His parents' small business could be his chance. In their past life, they gave up too early, returning to the village with nothing. Now he knew how to avoid it, and he turned to his friend, ready to share his new plan. Liam's friend promised support, assuring that his father would sort out the business prospects. Another important detail came to mind in Liam's mind: Uncle Jang's restaurant, which would later go bankrupt due to fraudsters. Now Liam is determined to find these scammers and stop them so that Jang's future can be better. In his past life, Jang had always helped him out and supported him, and Liam felt it was time to repay that debt. He once searched for a long time for a job until he succeeded in programming, and this experience has now become his advantage. Suddenly, the main thing dawned on him. In 1999, Yang founded the Phylong Company, which in 8 months turned into a successful business. With the knowledge from the future, Liam became a real programming guru, and cooperation with Long opened his way to the top. Later, while taking a bath, he noticed a strange glow around his hand. This light reminded him of what he saw at the coffee shop in his past life, and now it appeared again. Liam asked Jang if he noticed anything unusual, but his friend saw nothing. Doubts gripped Liam. Whether this was a hallucination or reality, he couldn't tell. Those around him began to notice his strange behavior, which did not escape their notice. Monica, for whom he once had feelings, was angry, considering him unpredictable. Liam used to watch her every move, but now everything has changed. Absorbed in his plans, he decided not to wait 8 months for Yan Feilong's success and to act on his own. At that moment, he accidentally bumped into Monica, knocking her food onto the floor. Liam offered to buy a new batch, but she refused, not accepting his help. He left, leaving her bewildered without looking back. In the dining room, Monica walked up to Liam with determination, clearly intending to sort things out. He was only surprised by her persistence, not understanding the reason, which made the girl even more angry. She sat opposite her for 3 minutes, but Liam didn't even look up, and this made her doubt his attitude. Suddenly he looked up and Monica was already happy, but her hopes were dashed. His gaze fell on Barbara, a rich, stylish, and influential girl who always looked impeccable. Monica clenched her fists, mentally furious that Liam couldn't see the devious nature hiding behind Barbara's sweet smile. Gathering her courage, she returned to him and firmly declared that Barbara would never show sincerity to him. Liam waved her off coldly, deciding that there was nothing to talk about with Monica, and left, throwing a few harsh words at her. Left alone, he fell into dark thoughts about Barbara, knowing that behind her beauty there was a dark history. Because of her, the honest professor who always stood up for the truth lost everything he had. Barbara cleverly used her father's money to hush up the rumors and drove the professor to despair, ruining his life. The whispers behind his back, shame and hopelessness pushed him to the edge, and Liam himself saw how he stepped off the roof. Later, he overheard Barbara laughing with her friends, assuring them that their father would fix everything, and denying her guilt in the professor's death. These memories made Liam's heart beat with rage. Suddenly, Monica grabbed his hand, tearing him out of his heavy thoughts. Liam felt that she thought he was in love with her and now jealous of others. Smiling, he decided to joke and started talking about money, assuring that only money is important in life, not feelings. Monica froze, not understanding why he was saying such nonsense. Liam added that it was time for her to get her act together and read smart books instead of empty dreams. He left, leaving her standing there, confused and at a loss for words. Monica was seething inside, but she kept silent, holding back her emotions. Liam narrowed his eyes at her from a distance and thought that she still didn't understand anything. Once he was too young and in love to see her frivolity and coldness. Now everything became clear and he decided to put his feelings aside, concentrating on the calculation. Love meant nothing anymore. Great things and real power lay ahead. He knew that Yang Feilong would soon become an important figure surrounded by the attention of girls. But Liam didn't care. Beauty and fame didn't matter. What mattered was power. While he was making plans, his friends in the dorm joyfully clapped hands with each other. Jang was inviting him to a match. Liam thought about it, remembering that Brazil would lose because he had already seen this match in a past life. However, the dream of breaking into Feilong's company burned stronger within him, and he wanted to focus only on that. Jang egged him on by making a bet. The loser would wash his socks. Liam smiled slyly and agreed, deciding to watch the match and still outsmart his friend. Jang exuded confidence, believing that he had already won the argument, and the tension between the friends grew. Liam was drawn into memories of the past, when football was his passion and he could easily guess the outcome of every match. In 2001, the lottery was the talk of China. The chance to get rich overnight was tempting, but Liam knew that one wrong move could ruin it all. The mysterious golden light he had noticed before drew him in, reminding him of a past life where luck had eluded him, and now he was eager to unravel its secret. Betting seemed to him a risky game. One victory brought joy, but constant success could arouse suspicion, and wealth inevitably brought enemies. Jang dreamed of triumph and glory, not noticing how the losers lost everything, but Liam kept a sober view of things. A friend invited him to watch the match, but Liam declined, deciding that wasting time on trifles was unacceptable. Jang was surprised, assuming that Liam had problems at home or ran out of money. Liam waved it off, noting that wealth came and went, and it was the future that really mattered. Jang left and Liam suddenly felt sad, remembering how their friendship had faded in his past life. But now he was not in danger of being alone. In the computer science classroom, Liam connected to the server and his new program started working instantly. He froze in amazement, realizing that in this time, computers opened up incredible possibilities that he could only dream of in his past life. In the corridor, Barbara was already luring the young teacher into her nets, and he was succumbing to her tricks. Liam remembered the rumors. She rarely showed up at the dorm, her address remained a secret, and the teachers were afraid to contradict her. Professor Harry couldn't stand her pressure and passed away, and she kept others in fear with blackmail. The entire institute remembered his tragedy but remained silent, fearing Barbara's wrath. Liam overheard her friends chattering and intervened sharply, demanding to know everything they knew. The young teacher was already under her influence, and soon she could take over the entire institute like a poisonous snake. Liam was in no hurry to act, deciding that he would stop Barbara later, and for now he focused on Yan Feilong. He planned to turn her dirty money against her, making her regret that she had stood in his way. Liam was walking down the hallway when a girl tripped next to him, sending her books scattering across the floor. He rushed to help, their hands accidentally touched, and he suddenly realized that it was Lilia in front of him. This girl in her past life became the author of books that were read by millions. She wrote about the lives of young people, about love and difficulties, and her words touched the hearts of many. Seeing her so young, Liam could hardly contain his delight. Lily caught his eye, and he hastened to say that he admired her article and knew about her future successes. She was embarrassed, and he added that he adored her work and wanted to help her as a fan, without any ulterior motives. In his past life, he didn't have time to meet her. Depression and family pressure cut her off. Weak and vulnerable, she could not cope with life's trials. Liam decided to change her destiny by seizing this chance. Lily reminded him of his sister, whose dreams of writing were suppressed by her strict family. She nodded, mentioning that her brother also suffered from parental oppression. Liam promised to be her support, took her email and left, asking her to answer him as he wrote. He burst into the computer science classroom, realizing that there were no phones yet, and he would have to wait a long time for an answer from her. Yan Feilong's business was just starting out in City S, and he was still a year away from reaching his goal. Liam wrote Lilia a long letter full of support, and she was touched by his genuine concern. One critic once criticized her stories, but she decided to fight and prove her strength. Liam offered to meet her at the lab to help her with her work. She came with drafts of stories and asked to evaluate them. The teacher criticized her text, but Liam assured her that everything was fine and advised her to go her own way, ignoring the ill-wishers. Lily smiled, feeling understood for the first time. Liam believed that everyone has their own path, and there was no point in judging the drafts because Lilia would still reveal her talent. Her eyes sparkled with joy, but then Monica appeared. Seeing them together, she became angry and began to follow them, whispering barbs about Lily. Liam gritted his teeth in irritation as the gossips made noise nearby, their loud voices making it difficult to concentrate. He wanted to interrupt them abruptly, but suddenly froze. Monica, who had just been standing next to him, was now far away. Her voice was still clear despite the distance, and it confused him. Liam waved his hand, deciding to ignore Monica and not waste his energy on her. However, a strange feeling did not leave him. The sounds around him became brighter, as if his hearing had sharpened to a supernatural level. He smirked, realizing that this unusual gift could become his secret weapon, and decided to use it to its full potential. Liam walked onto a podcast with Yan Feilong, a man whose life was shrouded in mystery. Ian spoke confidently of a future where technology, the internet, and smart machines would transform the world. He predicted the disappearance of borders, the rapprochement of people, and a life full of comfort and uniqueness. The crowd listened with delight, but Liam suddenly loudly declared his grandiose dreams, confident that they would soon come true. He then added that Yan was in danger of one day trapping himself. Everyone froze at his courage, and Liam, knowing the businessman's hidden thoughts, offered to deal with him alone. He turned and left the room, leaving the audience speechless. Jan, despite his influence, felt a surge of curiosity. This impudent guy intrigued him. He hurried out of the hall and caught up with Liam on the street. Liam turned around, anticipating that the businessman would not resist the challenge. He stated directly that Jan plans to implement the technology in large factories. At first, everything seemed smooth. Labor in China was available, but people had little money and would choose cheap goods. Investing huge sums and raising prices seemed stupid, but a direct approach to people promised rapid growth, quality, and a wide market. Ian listened, amazed at how this guy believed in his ideas more than he did. All these years he doubted, his friends called him a weakling, and now the young daredevil saw the future in him. Liam pulled out the disc with the program he had created and handed it to Ian, leaving the choice up to him. This gesture became a ticket to something greater, and soon Ian was to realize it. Ian narrowed his eyes, suspecting a trick, and asked if Liam was afraid of being deceived without a formal agreement. Liam waved it off, confident that a real businessman would not deceive, gave his name and left. Ian returned to his room, inserted the disk into the computer, and froze. The code turned out to be amazingly perfect. He immediately decided that this guy would become his partner, and together they would take the company to the next level. 3 days later, Yang Feilong found Liam in the student cafeteria after a long search. Liam immediately realized that the businessman would not miss such an opportunity. Ian loudly invited him to join his team, promising that technology would take off and business would become unrivaled. Liam waved it off, noting that such big words were suitable for the naive, and he was not one of them. Jan was at a loss. The guy from a simple family behaved with the dignity of an important person. Liam grinned, pulled a disc with the full version of the program out of his backpack, and handed it to Ian. He said that he trusted him, and if things went well, Jan would decide for himself what to do next, and then left. Jan froze, realizing that he was in the presence of real talent. It was December 31st, 1998, and Zhang and his friends were watching the news. Feilong's company had attracted huge investments, growing faster than in Liam's previous life. Fame came earlier than expected and promised to be deafening. Liam smirked. His plan was working perfectly. In April 1999, Liam brought his diploma to Harry's teacher, but an enraged Barbara burst into the room. She screamed, accusing the teacher of deliberately ruining her work despite her financial investment. Harry calmly replied that her diploma was not bad, but the mistakes were too obvious and impossible to miss. Barbara stamped her foot, promising to fix everything, and quickly left. Liam quietly warned the teacher that it would be better not to mess with her, otherwise there would be problems. There was little time left before graduation, and he wanted to complete his studies without unnecessary complications. At this point, Yang Feilong appeared with a tempting offer: work together, become a shareholder, and get rich, because the company was growing rapidly. Liam declined, noting that gratitude was enough for him, and after graduation he dreams of opening his own coffee shop. He asked Jan for the old address on 99th Street and left. Ian was surprised, noting to himself that Liam was not chasing money like other young men. Liam provided vital data for the project but refused to accept payment even as the company began to expand. Ian immediately instructed his assistant to buy a house on 99th Street and prepare $3 million, deciding to thank Liam for his selflessness. Liam pushed him to come up with new ideas, and the businessman began to think seriously about the future. Liam accepted the deeds to the house calmly, accepting the gift without any fuss. In the classroom, the professor loudly announced that the thesis defense would take place in June, leaving the students with only 3 months, and everyone began to bustle about in panic. Barbara was angry because her diploma was still not ready, and the teacher stubbornly rejected it. She complained to her friend, but Monica unexpectedly supported the professor, noting that he was pointing out mistakes for her own good. Barbara didn't listen, and the guys next to her advised her to calm down, otherwise she risked not finishing her studies. Barbara decided to fight to the end, even if it meant resorting to trickery. Liam looked at her and sharply noted that neither money nor family could save her vile character, because everything could change in an instant. The argument quickly escalated, and he added that there were forces greater than her father and that she would soon get what she deserved. Liam mentally promised himself to wait until she completely collapsed. Barbara did not understand the reason for his anger, and in a rage she attacked him with her fists. Someone grabbed her hand. She tried to break free, but Liam dodged every blow with incredible speed. Barbara was taken aback by his agility, tripped, and fell to the floor in front of a crowd of onlookers. Liam went to his room thinking about the mysterious golden light and how easily he had dealt with Barbara. He was surprised by his speed. Her movements seemed slow, and her body seemed to know how to react. It was more than just luck, but he couldn't understand what was happening to him. Liam decided that the next day he would go to the library at the University of Han City for answers. In old books, he read about people who, through meditation, absorbed the power of nature, becoming more powerful and getting closer to something great. It was mentioned that mortals with special abilities could connect with nature, strengthening themselves through persistent training. The clans had their secrets, but everything depended on work and constant effort. Liam considered it a fiction, because science did not explain such things, and he did not want to believe in fairy tales. But his own rebirth also did not fit into the framework of science, and he realized that he himself was not quite ordinary. From that day on, he decided to seek the truth and try these strange techniques, since life gave him such a chance. The next morning, just as the sun was rising, Liam headed to the student park to begin his journey. He knew that training the body and mind was like building a house, step by step without rushing. Sitting down on the grass, he closed his eyes, calmed down, and soon felt that he had more control over himself. Liam trained hard for 9 weeks in 29-degree heat, feeling his strength fading, but he refused to give up. Finally, he reached the first stage of cultivation and became a true cultivator. Rising from the ground, he felt lightness in his body, fatigue disappeared, and joy overcame him. Continue. But then he was surrounded by a crowd of old people who praised him for his strength and health, vying with each other to share advice. There were too many people, and Liam hurried away. On the way, he came across noisy dancing in the square, where chaotic movements made it difficult to pass. He noted that older people in China were becoming increasingly active, and this process could not be stopped. An idea came into my head, to create a place where pensioners could play sports and develop themselves. When he returned, he would start working on it. But now the airport and the flight to Yanzhou were waiting for him. Jan's assistant reported that several apartments had already been found for him. Upon arrival, Liam purchased the house for $1 million, knowing that its value would soon increase tenfold. The realtor was surprised to see a young guy with a rare phone who paid for everything immediately. The contract was signed, and Liam realized that this was the first step to wealth. He felt that his rebirth was not accidental, and that great achievements lay ahead. Along the way, he heard news. Long's company was growing rapidly, attracting foreign money and seizing every opportunity. But he knew that Yan couldn't cope alone, and he decided to join the cause. At the company's headquarters, Mr. Lucas, an important figure in the world of technology whose fame was heard everywhere, was greeted noisily. Lucas loudly demanded a report from his assistant and a place in a restaurant to meet with another businessman, brooking no delay. The assistant reported that some guy persistently wanted to talk to Lucas and would not leave. Lucas frowned, deciding that this was another fantasist, of which there had been too many lately. But then he changed his mind and allowed the guy to enter, ordering him to bring another employee with business. Liam stepped into Long's company office, recalling his past life, and realized that this place was worthy of his attention. He was curious about who would become the leader in the world of technology. The young assistant asked him to wait until Lucas was free. As Liam stood there, he talked on the phone, explaining that China's economy was growing thanks to the internet, and now was the best time to be an IT business. Looking around, he entered the room and saw Lucas, who looked confident and stern. Lucas immediately asked if Liam was looking for a job, but added that there were no vacancies. Liam shook his head, clarifying that that wasn't what he came for. He was interested in Brother Xi's chain of stores, which Long's company was trying to develop. He knew that the project had collapsed not only because of the market, but also because of the disaster that would soon destroy everything. Liam believed that the failure of the Xi chain of stores was not an accident, but a mistake. Zhang's brother relied too much on himself, unlike Yang, who knew how to listen to others. Finally, he spoke, saying that he had studied the IT company market and had come to certain conclusions. They had just discussed the Xi chain of stores on the phone, and Liam was sure it was best to pass on it. He explained that infrastructure is growing, land is becoming more expensive, and rent and workers will eat up all the profits. Liam suggested focusing on online shopping, but Lucas objected, noting that the guy was only seeing the surface. Lucas said that despite the rising rent, the profits from the IT networks make up for it all, because their company is at its peak, and clients are waiting in the wings. He added that successful people seize opportunities, while Liam seems afraid to take risks. However, Lucas noticed his stubbornness and laughed, remembering himself in his youth. Liam insisted he knew the future. Electronics logistics were complex, prices could skyrocket, and Lucas should be careful. Lucas chuckled at first, but then thought about it, seeing something unusual in the guy. Liam nodded, handed over his business card, and said he was willing to help if needed, and then left. Lucas found his words strange, but decided that this guy would see the triumph of his ideas when they came to fruition. Liam knew that Lucas wouldn't change his plans because of a casual conversation, but sooner or later he would find him himself. Now he headed to his next target in Qiandu. Meanwhile, at the university in the boys' dorm, Liam ran into Zhang. The friend was delighted and started asking where he had disappeared to over the weekend and why he hadn't picked up his things. Liam replied that he had gone to visit his parents. Zhang continued to chat, wondering if Liam had mentioned his cool friend to his family and if they'd joked about it. Liam chuckled and handed over the contacts for Zhang's brother Xi and the disc, noting that the plan for Yanzhou was complete. Noticing that Zhang hadn't come home the previous weekend, Liam asked if he'd missed him. Zhang got angry, explaining that at home everyone pestered him with questions, but with brother Xi he was much calmer. Liam wondered if someone like Lucas was looking for him, figuring that if it was important, they would find him. At that moment, he remembered running away from the park after meditation and suddenly encountering an unusual old man. He pulled him aside, folded his hands in a strange gesture, and a bright, fiery aura flared up around them. The old man loudly announced that he was activating the energy, causing the air to tremble. Liam froze, not believing his eyes. Leaves rained down on the old man, and he asked if the boy understood what was happening. Then Liam felt a fire ignite inside him, awakened by this energy, and he realized that the old man was also a cultivator. He realized that the world was full of people striving for immortality. He was just too weak to notice them before. The old man thought for a moment, deciding not to say that he saw Liam as a novice cultivator. He had met many people in his long life, but this guy's energy shone unusually brightly. He even thought that if his granddaughter had gotten involved with Liam, their family could have achieved greatness. This feeling was strange and inexplicable. Liam, sensing something suspicious, asked the old man why they were looking for him and if everything was okay. The old man hesitated and then suddenly offered to introduce him to his granddaughter if the guy didn't have a girlfriend. Liam was at a loss. He expected wisdom and knowledge from the cultivator, not matchmaking at the first meeting. He laughed it off, noting that he was already busy and classes would start soon. It was time to go. But the old man did not give up, grabbing his hand and praising his granddaughter, kind, smart, and beautiful as a flower, who studies in his group. Liam objected, but the old man was already dialing her number, not listening to her protests. The boy tried to break free, but the grip was too strong. The granddaughter answered on the phone that she was busy and would not come. The old man let Liam go, but immediately changed his mind, assuring her that she would be there in 10 minutes. He insisted that Liam was single and that they should get to know each other first and then decide. Liam got angry, explaining that he was busy cultivating and was interested in goals, not romances. The old man began to beg, saying that Liam was a strong guy and could have taken pity on him, given him a chance to make the old man happy before he died. Suddenly he fell to the ground, pretending to stop the guy. Then Monica came up and called out to the old man, and Liam froze. It was her grandfather. A classmate who had long been in love with him turned out to be that very granddaughter. Monica, seeing them together, was surprised and asked what was going on. She suspected something was wrong, flared up with anger, and attacked Liam, shouting that he apparently decided to go through her grandfather since he couldn't get her himself. Grandfather was confused by Monica's words and tried to calm her down, but she did not listen, demanding to be allowed to speak. Monica screamed that Liam was constantly interfering in her life, although she made it clear that nothing would happen between them. And now, he was even trying to get her through her family. In shock, she helped her grandfather get up from the ground, asking if they were making fun of him, since it was not appropriate for students to behave like that. Liam listened to her tirade and dryly noted that she seemed to be talking to herself. The grandfather was embarrassed and asked his granddaughter to listen to him, but she was already shouting that she would protect her grandfather from this guy. The old man insisted that she had misunderstood everything and that she should apologize to Liam. Monica stubbornly refused, unwilling to give in. Grandfather raised his voice and her eyes filled with tears. He came from far away and now he was yelling at her. She turned and ran away, shouting over her shoulder that she would never forgive him. The grandfather tried to catch up with her but couldn't and muttered that the girl was unbearable. He turned to Liam, explaining that there had been a misunderstanding between them and that he would clear things up later. Liam asked if he could go, but the old man stopped him, saying that he had immediately noticed that he was a novice cultivator. There was no point in hiding it, because Liam had seen everything. He added that Liam is like a blank slate with bright talent, perfect for the path of cultivation. The matchmaking was a joke, but in reality the old man wants to be friends and keep in touch. Liam realized he needed something to grow, but in this world it was better to be careful. Unnecessary words can cost a lot. The old man decided not to become a mentor, leaving Liam to find answers on his own, but noted that his character was inspiring and that he would become strong over time. Finally, he mentioned that there would soon be a cultivator meeting in High and invited Liam as a sign of trust. He said that he himself had reached the 3rd level but could not advance further, but their sister was one of the strongest. If Liam becomes her student, he will have incredible success. The old man, although he did not inspire complete confidence, openly spoke about his motives, which was already a plus. He had a personable personality, and Liam thought that cultivating alone was boring, and the old man knew a lot of useful things. His sister could help too, and it would be rude to refuse, so Liam agreed to contact later. The old man was delighted, but he remembered Monica and sighed, realizing that he still had to deal with her. Monica was angry, thinking that her grandfather had fallen for Liam's bait, who was talking about his talent, although it seemed like nonsense to her. She decided to check it out herself, and they got into the same car. Monica opened the door for him, and they drove off. Liam was writing something down in his notebook, not paying attention to those around him. Grandfather reminded her of the misunderstanding, saying that he dreamed of seeing her and Liam together, and asked her to think again. He added that Liam was a good guy, and Monica glanced at him, wondering if he had improved. Her cheeks flushed as she found herself thinking that he seemed cuter, and her grandfather's praise made her doubt it. Meanwhile, Liam was thinking that a week had passed since he gave the disc to Yan Feilong, and there was still no response. He wondered if the disc had been lost by the administration or if Jan was too busy, because the program had cost him a lot of effort, and Jan's reaction had been vivid. After Rebirth, everything should go smoothly, and he will not allow a repetition of the past. Suddenly, he turned to Monica, and she was embarrassed, wondering if he had noticed her gaze. Liam looked at his notebook, not understanding what was happening to her. His strange look confused her even more. He continued writing without stopping. Monica suddenly remembered the past, their clash in the school corridor, her screams that he only brought her troubles, and his cold gaze. She wondered if she had been reaching out to him all this time. Liam interrupted her thoughts by asking if they were going to Qinyun. The old man explained that cultivators have their own secret lands, hidden from ordinary people by a barrier. Monica stepped towards the glowing barrier first, and Liam followed her. An amazing view opened up before them. A huge mansion hovered in the sky, as if outside of reality. Liam wondered if he would ever be able to have land like that. With renewed strength, he felt energy, and looking at Monica, he noticed that her strength was very weak. He wondered if he could help her strengthen it. Liam was surprised that Monica was also capable of cultivation, but her energy remained weak. This made the girl angry, and she called him a fool. He calmly explained that he was simply curious as to why this was so, since they were both students and should be thinking about the future of the country, not just about themselves. Monica snorted, asking why she needed that. She told him not to look at her energy. It was weak, and she had no chance of cultivating, unlike him, the old man thought, dreaming that his granddaughter would not be left alone in old age. Liam noticed that Monica's energy was not completely weak, but he still did not understand the reason for her condition. Monica cut him off abruptly, saying that no one had talked to him about this, and at his level he probably just couldn't see anything. She and her grandfather had difficult personalities, but the old man always wanted a strong family, even though it didn't work out. Liam looked around. The place looked amazing. There were cultivators everywhere, and he wondered if such meetings were held in other cities. Everything seemed ordinary, but with a touch of magic. Even the postman moved at incredible speed here. Liam was surprised to think how much such a postman could earn in a year. The old man said it was time to visit his sister and led them through the park. He turned to her, mentioning that Monica was with a guy, which embarrassed his granddaughter, and she asked him not to say that. Liam was also confused, thinking that the old man was completely unaware of the mood around him. He became curious about what would happen next, because cultivators have secret skills that they hide from ordinary people. Monica noticed that Liam was acting calm after his grandfather's words, and wondered if he really didn't care or was even happy. Liam thought that she could have explained everything earlier, but she doesn't even look at him, although it's fresh and pleasant here. Suddenly, a portal opened in front of them, and Lin Shuhui, the head of Qinyun and Monica's grandmother, came out. Liam froze, realizing that this was the same sister. She looked young, not at all like her grandmother, but she angrily reproached them for their rudeness. Approaching her grandfather, Lin Shuhui noted that he had become younger thanks to cultivation, and it was all thanks to her. Liam remembered the articles that said the higher the cultivator's level, the younger he looked, and was at a loss. It seems he really was inattentive before. Lin Shuhui said that if there are difficulties, you should immediately contact her. She is kind and fair. Liam found this strange. Everything looked too smooth, even for the cultivator world, and he began to doubt. Grandma asked Monica if Liam was really her target, since his pure essence could help her granddaughter in cultivation. Monica snapped that this was her grandfather's invention, and that she and Liam were just classmates. Grandma got angry, asking why he was here then, if not with Monica. The grandfather explained that he saw talent in the boy and wanted to take him on as an apprentice. Grandma was surprised, looked closely at Liam, and realized that he really was a genius. But she told me not to rush and to check it properly first. Grandfather patted Liam on the shoulder, saying that his sister didn't refuse right away, which meant everything was fine, and perhaps there would be a test. Good luck to the future student. They went to a banquet where the family discussed their affairs. Grandma announced that in a year everyone must improve their cultivation, purify their energy, and work for progress, casting aside pride. Liam wondered if his rebirth was related to these energy changes, or if it was just a coincidence. Lin Shuhui added that the event will be held as usual this year, and the winner will receive a generous reward, such as a new weapon. Last year, the prize was a flying blade capable of flying thousands of miles in a day, and everyone was wondering what would happen next. The cultivators perked up, anticipating the competition. Grandfather decided to introduce Liam as his new student, pointing at him and calling him a genius chosen by the master himself. Everyone gasped, noticing that his energy was unusually strong. But the competitions are different every year, and it is impossible to predict them. Liam suddenly grabbed his grandfather by the clothes, saying that he only came here for the evening and didn't know any techniques. His grandfather reassured him, explaining that the events were more for fun and there was nothing to be afraid of, although his sister was clearly preparing a test. And Liam decided to trust the old man. They walked out onto the field and Liam froze in surprise. The cultivators cut through the air with huge flying blades. Each one shone with their own power, some blue, some red. Liam looked at him in disbelief, wondering if this was possible. Some even cooked food right on the field. It all seemed strange. People train for years and then have fun like this, but no one except him was surprised by this. Monica noticed his gaze and explained that the path of a cultivator is long and boring, and one cannot do without rest. So the grandmother came up with such meetings to exchange experiences. She added that grandma loves to eat well, and the one who pleases her taste will win. Monica looked at Liam, asking if he had come up with the dish. It was hot, my appetite was weak, and she suggested making something spicy, like shredded chicken, cold appetizers, tofu, or soup. Monica listed the dishes that she thought were delicious, but Liam stood silently, not making a sound. She added that her grandmother was from Sichuan and missed the spicy flavors of her homeland, although no one had mentioned this to Liam. Liam was surprised. Monica cared about him, and it unexpectedly warmed him inside. In his past life, he was a true master of the kitchen. His girlfriend could not tear herself away from his dishes, completely trusting him, because he loved her more than anyone in the world. Grandfather was also a big food lover at the time, and Liam learned Sichuan cuisine and at the same time mastered French and Italian recipes, conquering all tastes. He thought that his culinary skills would go to waste in this life, but now he was glad that they came in handy. Taking a determined step towards the stove, he gathered his courage, ready to give it his all. Monica's grandmother watched him from afar, and her grandfather rubbed his hands nervously, wondering if the boy really knew how to cook. The old man became worried that his praise would prove empty, and Liam would fail before everyone's eyes. Lin Shuhui waved her hand, calming her grandfather down. At his age, his energy is seething. Let him create. There is no need to rush. Liam became nervous, his heart pounding. How to please the stern leader? He decided not to choose and rushed to cook everything he knew with incredible passion. The stoves began to rustle around, the participants started running around, and Liam finished first. A whole mountain of dishes grew in front of him, steaming and enticing. The competitors became worried, exchanging glances. Why did he prepare so much? They surrounded him, claiming that taste was more important than quantity, and that the chief could not be fooled. And they were also surprised at where the newcomer got so many products. Someone whispered that he must be weak in cultivation, since he was wasting his energy on the kitchen. The stranger came closer and muttered that such indecision would only ruin everything. Liam shrugged, saying that the leader would be the judge, and if he didn't like the food, he would go back to his training. Deep down, he was sure that his dishes were masterpieces, because the ingredients were rare and the best, a real treasure. The participants pounced with reproaches. Even with such products, skill is needed, and not just luck. Lin Shuhui watched silently, but her fingers tapped out a rhythm on the throne, clearly getting carried away. She nodded to her grandfather, letting him know that everything was going as it should. The old man breathed a sigh of relief, and Liam kept his cool, hoping that Monica would see his efforts. The tasting began. The guests tried and could not contain their delight, wondering how the food could be so delicious. Everyone waited with bated breath for what the leader would say. Lin Shuhui stepped towards the table and began to taste it. The fish soup turned out to be better than she expected and surprised her with its taste. The fish and red pepper flakes made her smile. The 10th dish, rare and complex, stunned everyone. No one could understand where he knew such recipes from. When she tried mapo tofu, her favorite since childhood, her eyes lit up. She almost jumped, ready to eat at least 10 bowls. She asked what the secret was, and Liam replied with a smile that he put sincerity into the dishes. Everyone froze, thinking that he would be removed for excess food. But after a pause, the leader announced that he would receive a magical weapon and a book. The crowd erupted in shouts. "This is unfair, she didn't even look at their food." The competitors were angry, and then the head chef came out, half a century in cooking, a master, although weak in cultivation. He said that it was hard for old people to compete, but he was faster than everyone else. While others were making one dish, he was already on the 9th. He fell to his knees before Liam, begging him to take him on as an apprentice. The guy froze in shock. After his culinary triumph, Liam stepped into Lin Shuhui's kitchen and she declared that he was her apprentice from that day forward. The guy was taken aback. Shouldn't there be a ceremony, bows, fireworks? Everything is that simple? Grandma smiled, noticing that he thought it was too easy, and explained that it was the 21st century. Everything was fine. After returning, she told me to cultivate myself. And for questions, go to Chao Yan. Come to Chinyun every week for rest and training. The time will be announced later. I asked Monica to look after him. It seems she figured out how to motivate her granddaughter. Monica agreed, and she and Liam headed down the street. He stared at her the whole way until she asked what was wrong, if his eyes had grown out of the back of his head. Liam waved it off, saying he was simply being patient and suggested they speed up. There was no time to waste. Monica froze, wondering if he was using her since her grandfather was now his teacher. Liam went to see Professor Harry. He praised his diploma. The structure, analysis, data are excellent. He is proud. The guy was pleased, even though the praise was embarrassing. The professor suggested refining the problematic areas to strengthen the interpretation of key points. But then a colleague came in and called him into the office on academic matters, and the discussion was postponed until tomorrow. As Liam was leaving, he spotted Barbara, who hissed at him that the old man shouldn't have gotten in her way, and if he prevented her from finishing her studies, she would cut off his oxygen supply. Her anger only grew. Let Liam see his precious professor hit the bottom. Did he think he scared her? Zhang suddenly asked what was wrong with him, whether the diploma had passed, but Liam replied that everything was fine. He was thinking about something else. I advised Zhang to work on his diploma, but he admitted that he was desperate and wanted to take a rest. They hoped to graduate from university sooner. Professor Harry would soon be punished, and before that, Liam had to implement the plan to bring the collected evidence to light. That evening at the office, the academic representative called Professor Harry for a one-on-one conversation. Barbara showed up too. The representative said the girl claimed that the professor had abused his authority by trying to start a relationship with her. Is this true? Harry exploded, calling it a lie, and swore that he was ready to answer for his words. Nothing like that happened. Over the years of work, everyone knows his honesty and character. Barbara burst into tears, screaming that he had threatened to discredit her thesis and said that she would not be able to defend it. He explained this by mistakes in the work, but the main reason was that she didn't write it herself. Bursting into tears, she screamed, "Are they really using an innocent girl for their pleasures? Does he understand how important a girl's honor is?" Her assistants consoled her. It was just a diploma, graduation. She didn't even take a scholarship. The representatives were touched. She has the capabilities, the appearance. Why discredit the professor at such a price? Harry boiled over, shouting that this was slander. Let them shut up and prove it. What evidence does she have that he offered anything? He was disgraced. He has been teaching for decades, and she dares. He has a family, a wife, children. He wouldn't stoop to such a thing. Let Barbara prove her words. She came up with a story. He dragged her into the office, locked the door, and reached under her skirt. Where is the evidence? Her behavior is the proof. The assistant intervened, saying that enough was enough. It was unknown how many girls had suffered from him. The professor has the worst graduation rate. The organization will sort it out, and Harry was told to suspend classes. He grabbed his head, confused, and Barbara smirked. Get what you deserve. Zhang was hiding in the office, furious at this scene. He rushed to Liam, telling him that Barbara had slandered the professor and that action had to be taken. Liam smiled. Everything will be ready by midnight. At 12 o'clock, they entered the university wearing black masks and putting up posters with evidence. In the morning, students crowded around the bulletin board where photos of Barbara kissing and hanging out with various guys were displayed. Everyone realized who she really was. Barbara woke up to the confused looks of her friends and asked what happened. They gave her a photo. She was with the school's rich kid. In a rage, she tore up the photo, not knowing who dared, but she vowed to find and kill. Barbara flew up to the stand and began tearing up the photographs. The students started buzzing. Is she really an escort? Her family has a lot of money. Why does she need this? She exploded, shouting, "What are they even talking about? Let them shout louder." The crowd besieged Barbara, telling her not to shout because she was no longer above them, and calling her shameless. Accusations rained down. She was called names and hated. Liam watched the scene, thinking that Barbara didn't even realize how much she was hurting others. But this was only the first step in breaking down her facade. It was time to move on to the second. He hurried to the cafe to see Director Shi, praising his plan as brilliant, capable of strengthening Fei Long's company and exposing its weaknesses, and then asked if he was satisfied. The director decided that Liam wanted to join the company and regretted the possible loss, but the guy revealed his cards. The previous plan was a sketch. Now it was about trading. He did not sit idle and was ready to pull in the nets after a long fishing trip. Liam offered to buy the Jiangquang company and outlined the goal: to save Professor Harry from slander, expose Barbara's arrogance, and drown her patrons. The director was stunned, delighted by the boys' nobility of soul, and said that it was time to wind up their business, agreeing to help. Meanwhile, in the boys' dorm, Zhang was discussing with a friend that this was just the beginning. Barbara shouldn't stay, and the professors had already been suspended. Someone saw Harry's sad face, and everyone hoped that he would survive. Liam went out to the park and met Harry, assuring him that the truth would come out soon. The professor asked how to deal with such influential people. They respected him, but now they don't even look in his direction. Friends, students, and even the deputy director turned away. Barbara and her father are furious, demanding that she confess to harassment and be fired. Otherwise, they will destroy her reputation so much that she will not be hired anywhere. Harry was saddened, wondering who would have thought that a student would do such a thing, and thought that it was all useless. Liam countered that she was pushing with money, but there would be those who would push her with even more. The professor was surprised, asking where such money was, and did not think that Liam would be the last one to believe in him. The idea seemed good but naive, and Harry sighed that the heavenly judge might decide, but he had nothing else to teach. He advised Liam to use his abilities to avoid repeating his fate. Liam reminded the professor of his own lessons, not to give up in the face of difficulties. He added that revenge would overtake everyone, justice would prevail, but begged not to prove innocence by suicide. The professor was surprised, even laughed, and agreed to wait. In the corridor of the first building, Liam burst into the classroom, approached Barbara, and demanded that she withdraw her complaint. She jumped up, stunned, asking what he was talking about and reminding him what had happened to the professor, threatening that he wanted to kill his career in the bud. Liam snapped that this was her last chance. Barbara snorted, mocking his last chance and asking if he had watched too many movies. She called him the bottom of society, saying that his teacher was beyond help. People like him, she said, were doormats for people like her, and he should keep his advice to himself. Liam mentioned that the countdown had started, but she just shrugged, not getting it. Meanwhile, everything was going smoothly at Barbara's house, and she returned home. The father ran out, announcing that glory awaited them. Filong's company wanted cooperation, and he was taking out a loan for development. I asked if she knew about the Filongs. Millions of investments, industry leader Yang himself sent an invitation. 100 million for them is like 200. There's a lot of money. Barbara remembered Liam's words about last chance and burst out laughing, calling him an idiot who seriously gave her an ultimatum. She told her father that their assets would soon go down to zero. He took her to a restaurant for noble ladies, praised her for her diligence, and told her to keep up appearances. The next day in class, she crumpled up the paper and threw it at Liam. He caught it and threw it back. Barbara went berserk, asking if he wanted to die. Liam started counting down to 3. She was confused, and then the phone rang. Father screamed that it was a disaster, they were bankrupt, told them not to come back and leave. Liam smirked, noticing that everything was just right. Barbara asked what he had done, and he shrugged, asking what else to do against the great family. Her father was shouting on the phone at her to return the money or else he would go to the streets, calling her a slut. She dropped the phone, screamed and cried, insisting it was a dream. Liam came up, noting that money was an unreliable thing. Only they could save her, let her think about it. At night, Barbara broke through to her house. During the day, there were crowds of people here, splashing everything with paint. It was impossible to enter, but now it was evening, and she decided that everyone had left. There was chaos inside. Paint on the walls, things overturned. She rushed to her room to check the jewelry. It was empty. The boxes had been ransacked. She fell to her knees, trembling with fear. It was going through her head that for every rich man there was a richer man, and Liam was her only chance. She didn't understand what he was talking about. Her family had invested in Filong. Was this really a prank? Liam told me to forget the situation. He wouldn't get it anyway. Barbara wondered where her parents were, whether they were alive, why they weren't answering. She remembered TV series where debtors were killed in horrific ways, and she prayed that this would pass her by. She had only a month's worth of money left and didn't know what to do. Suddenly, they started pounding on the door. 2 thugs kicked it down, noticing that she had entered. They knew she had money. Barbara screamed in panic that there was no money, that everything was with her parents, and begged them not to touch her. But they grabbed her, threw her on the floor, muttering that the father's debt is the daughter's retribution. Did you hear? She cried, begged them to let her go, and they climbed up to her, pulled her by the waist, and found her wallet. Barbara screamed that these were the last hundreds and demanded that they be given back. They hit her in the face, telling her that she was beautiful and could work with her body. She struggled, screamed that she had recently slept with the scum of the company, asked to find her parents. They have money. They will listen to her. She is their only daughter. The thugs barked that she had to die. Her ancestors had fled. They didn't need her. She should have listened to her dad and gotten out of there. Just yesterday life was normal, but today it's hell. Barbara couldn't understand how everything collapsed. But then a man burst into the room, ordering her to take her hands away. They let her go, telling her to go and tell Mr. Lee that they had found valuable goods. Barbara, staggering, realized that she had been saved. Barbara's hopes were dashed. There was no escape. They grabbed her by the hair and started dragging her to the car. She begged to be let go, screaming that there was no money. But the bandits didn't care. They hit her, ordered her to shut up. One more sound, and that was the end. The bandits asked Barbara not to cause trouble, to tell the truth and to obey in order to save time. As she was being dragged by her hair to the car, she noticed Liam in the bushes and remembered his words that only he could save her. Barbara screamed his name for help and broke free, losing a clump of hair. She fell to her knees in front of him, begging because the bandits wanted to sell her. Wouldn't he help? Liam looked at her coldly, asking if she wanted him to save her. He turned on the recorder and asked what she had done to Professor Harry, demanding the truth. Barbara admitted that the old man did not give access to the diploma. Nothing happened. She slandered him so that he would be suspended, and she would calmly hand in the work, not wanting anything bad. She asked to be saved, promising to repeat her words louder. The thugs barked at Liam not to be a fool, but he asked one last question, whether Harry had harassed her. She screamed that no, he wasn't lying, it was all a fabrication. The bandits ordered them not to interfere, but Barbara begged them to save her, swore that Harry didn't deserve it, that she had set him up and was sorry. Liam asked again if she admitted her mistake, if she deserved punishment, if she was ready to wash away the shame from the professor's reputation and do everything he said. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Liam turned off the recording and apologized, noting that these guys weren't as kind as he was and debts had to be paid. He ordered the bandits to continue. Barbara screamed, accusing him of betrayal. The bandits burst out laughing, asking if she really thought he would rush to help, and added that at first they regretted selling the beauty, but after her confession there was no regret left. She disgraced the teacher, praising Liam for his steadfastness. He turned around, throwing out that their affairs were none of his business. He only wanted to clear Harry's honor. Liam reminded Barbara that for every rich guy, there's a richer guy. The bandits just laughed, noting that her body was the perfect commodity for sale. Barbara screamed, asking Liam who he thought he was, assuring him that if her parents were here, he wouldn't have dared to utter a word. And yet she, the fool, believed him. The bandits grabbed her by the shoulders and dragged her to the car, and she screamed at him not to think that he would get away with it. She screamed that they wouldn't believe him. Harry would be disgraced and wouldn't raise his head. Liam stopped and said that people don't change. If she had been more modest, she would have understood that he could still help. He had enough money now, but she failed his test, and he doesn't help people like that. Barbara snorted, asking if he thought she would trust him again. The main bandit told them to wait, saying that the show was starting and suggested letting the girl go. They had plenty of money. Let them be gentle. Maybe they would take pity. Liam asked how much her family owed, and the leader replied that it was only $1 million small change. Liam agreed to pay, showing a bill for $20 million. Barbara rushed towards him, begging him to help, but he pulled his hand away and she collapsed. He explained that he had brought savings, wanted to get her family out of debt, and she had missed the chance. She didn't know what to think. Now she was finished, and he added, "Did she know why Fei Long collaborated with her family? He arranged it." Barbara clutched her heart, exclaiming that this could not be. Liam came closer, asking what was worse than hell, a missed chance to escape the abyss. It's her own fault, and he has nothing to do with her affairs. Let the bandits do whatever they want. Barbara screamed, admitting her mistake and begging for help, but he left. The next day, he brought the recording of their conversation to the academy. Everyone heard the truth, and Harry was acquitted. The professor responded by noting that business was business. No one would stand up for Barbara now, and he would return to teaching. The system is rotten because of such vile methods. Such things must be stopped in the future. Injustice is unacceptable. Liam approached Harry, stating that the problem was solved and that it wouldn't happen again. Liam was sitting in the dining room when Monica appeared in front of him and asked about the recording. Was it really his doing? He remained silent, and she realized that silence was a sign of consent. Monica said that she was not stupid. She could distinguish his voice despite the processing, and Liam wondered why she asked if she knew everything. She sat down opposite him and asked a question. What was wrong with Barbara? Who were these people? Why did he hate her so much? After all, she had disgraced Professor Harry. Was that really the whole reason? Liam explained that she was taken away by creditors. He had nothing to do with it, and he was not going to save the beauty after her meanness. No one but Monica listened to Barbara's fate. Only she saw the hell she found herself in. Is that justice? Monica jumped up angry, asking if he understood what would happen to her now. Liam snapped that someone is born with rottenness and he does not save such people. Professor Harry is innocent. In his past life he committed suicide and Liam only wanted to get him out because others wouldn't lift a finger. Monica left seething with anger. He decided that her sense of justice was too strong and it was not worth dwelling on. Later he visited the professor. He appreciated Liam's words in the park, admitting that he wanted to die then. But the boy became a ray of light in the darkness. It's good that everything was resolved and justice is alive. Liam does good selflessly. Harry suggested discussing the diploma again. Then Liam met Lilia. She told him that she had been writing hard for the last few months and the publisher had sent copies and one for him, her biggest fan. He called it an honor, asked for an autograph. When she becomes famous, she will brag. The joy that filled him was greater than that of Yan Feilong's proposal. The book, Chasing the Stars, reflected his path and he promised to read it all, asking if there was anything else. Lily sighed. That's all, but soon her mother and brother will arrive. Her parents are busy dumping it on her, although she is becoming more popular. They saw the fee, found out that she is a writer, and now they demand that she quit her studies to earn money and send money. Brother is in high school, an important period. Lily doesn't want to. She entered with difficulty and won't sacrifice her future for her brother. If she is stubborn, her parents will do nothing. She will get out of their control, become independent, but she will not give up her studies and writing. At least she will not disown her family. Liam asked what she thought about this choice and extended his hand. She understands everything, so why worry? Liam suggested that Lilia wait for her parents to arrive so that they could resolve everything on the spot. But then Monica appeared nearby, noticing him with Lilia and mentally got angry. This girl again, does he really like her? She thought it was funny and she butted into their conversation, although she immediately thought, maybe this is an assignment from Grandpa. Lily noticed Monica and told Liam that his classmate was waiting for him and told him to go. When he saw Monica, he stopped smiling. She made a sarcastic remark. Was she really that scary? She turned around to leave, but returned saying that her grandfather was calling him to training. They got into the car and drove off. Monica was burning with curiosity. What was he chatting about with Lilia? I decided to ask directly. Is he in a good relationship with her? Is she a girl? Liam laughed, which puzzled and teased her. What's funny if she's the one who's hitting on him? Is she really in love? Monica was indignant. Of course not. He just used to run after her and now he left and everyone noticed it was strange. He explained. Yes, he liked her, but not anymore. He flicked her on the forehead and declared that he was now her grandmother's student and she should call him Uncle Mentor. There would be no love between uncle and niece. Monica was upset. She felt bad. He doesn't like her anymore? She became sad and Liam became embarrassed. They used to joke about seniority. Why did she become quiet now? She asked why she was pushed out by another and whether Lily was really his girlfriend. He answered, Lily is a spiritual teacher. He admires her but is not worthy and she is not his. Monica objected. He's not like everyone else. He's different. But Liam told her to shut up. He confessed. He liked her decades ago before her rebirth. He ran after her like a dog. But now there is no love in his life. Only business. He advised me to think about something serious and wished me luck. Monica decided that these were excuses, but she thought about it. What if it was true? He was far out of reach and she couldn't reach him. Monica and Liam showed up to see their grandmother and she was surprised. His true strength has grown since their last meeting. She asked what he was doing and Liam thought about it. In a week he broke Barbara, restored the professor's reputation. Harry went to the supermarket, trained with his grandfather, and participated in a cultural festival. He replied that he had only helped a loved one once by training and learning to dance every morning. Otherwise, everything was as usual. Because of Barbara, there was no time for business. Grandma thought it was a strange cultivation and told him to follow her and Monica to wait at the entrance. Liam walked into the room with the huge pool, looked around and noted that it was not bad. Grandma ordered me to undress. He objected. There was no time, and out of respect for her, he would not want that. There were rules, but she insisted. What's so difficult? She'll just take off his clothes. She'll immerse him in water, and that's it. Let him hurry. Liam asked not to worry, promising to undress, but he thought, is it really necessary to strip naked in front of the one he sees for the second time? This clan is precisely focused on collecting the energy of doubt that gnawed at it. He was stalling for time, which angered the head. She unbuttoned his shirt herself. She threw her outer clothing over herself. It fell off and he plopped into the water. Having emerged, he coughed and threw it to his mentor. She even used martial arts just to get him to undress faster. The water turned out to be unusually filled with spiritual energy. His level grew, his body became light, as if the channels were relaxing. He absorbed the power from the water and, surprised, asked what it was. Grandma explained. Let the recovery pool bathe completely. Lin Shuhui felt a strange excitement and couldn't figure out why. Another student, but with the arrival of Liam, something changed. She cut off her thoughts, deciding that he was still her student. But then her face flushed and her heart started pounding. This is the second time I see him and he seems familiar. There's something devilish going on and Liam is definitely involved. I decided to examine his body. Liam noticed that the mentor was acting unusually. She was shaking, but he wrote it off as problems with her head. It's better not to interfere with such people. He concentrated on absorbing the energy from the water, nourishing it while Lin Shuhui watched. The guy was slightly behind her. She had reached the peak of the 6th rank of the modern immortality cultivators, but she had a premonition that this guy would change their world. He'll think about it later. Liam felt hot. The spring had been cold, but now heat was blazing around him. It's probably normal since the mentor is nearby. You just need to ask. Lin Shuhui also felt the heat, dropped the cup, her body trembled and gave way. A strange feeling rolled in waves. The heat grew stronger. Meanwhile, Monica was studying the 10,000 thunderclaps technique. Monica, standing at the entrance, caught a pleasant aroma and collapsed to the floor, overwhelmed by an incomprehensible cocktail of love and excitement. Lin Shuhui realized that the smell was coming from Liam. Concentrating the energy on her finger, she enveloped the boy. His powerful yang energy burst out and mixed with the local yin, causing an imbalance. His yang is brighter and stronger than others and can. She stopped herself again. You can't keep control. The yang energy shouldn't penetrate deeper. The mentor does not give in to temptation so easily. She tried to calm herself. Lin Shuhui suddenly remembered that Monica was waiting outside, and while she herself could resist yang energy, her granddaughter with her weak cultivation base could not. She rushed towards her and found Monica lying on the floor, confused. The smell from outside was weak but still caught her. The grandmother enveloped her granddaughter in energy, putting her to sleep in order to deal with this devilry. However, the yang energy leaked into Lin Shuhui herself, and she felt like she was losing control. Meanwhile, Liam finished absorbing the energy from the pool. The mentor disappeared and he sat in one position all day. His body was numb. It was time to warm up. He stood up and began an 8-step warm-up. And suddenly his body started to glow. It looks like a breakthrough. His 5 senses became more acute and he rejoiced. At this point, Lin Shuhui returned and praised him. He had reached the stage of laying the foundation of the first step of immortal cultivation. Liam noticed her red face and asked what was wrong. She explained that at this stage, the cultivator collects the energy of heaven and earth, accumulating it in the body. Quantitative changes turn into qualitative ones, opening the way to laying the foundations. A failure in a breakthrough can rupture the channels, cutting off cultivation, but success strengthens them for future stages. The difference after today's breakthrough was felt to be huge, and she told him to wash up. Tomorrow the official training will begin. The results are already visible and let him finally get dressed. Initially, she thought that the source would only balance his energy, but she did not expect a breakthrough. Others need pills. She herself soaked in the springs for a week before hers, and ordinary people need a year to realize their spiritual roots. And he said that this was all new to him. Lin Shuhui thought for a moment, then burst into laughter with joy. She had found a genius. Liam heard her strange laugh and decided that everyone here was crazy. They met in the hall and Lin Shuhui announced, she is his mentor and a mentor has rights, for example, to eat well. Liam remembered her love for good food and agreed to cook. Thanks to her, he reached the foundation stage. She noticed that yang energy was no longer escaping from his body, and the consequences had subsided, although they almost turned into a catastrophe. His face was blank, but she didn't tell him. She was too ashamed. Later in the kitchen, Liam was busy thinking about what to cook for his mentor. Judging by her straightforwardness, tofu would be perfect for her, and he'll be done in 10 minutes. With his abilities, the day of the breakthrough will be a celebration. Then Monica came in and offered to help. Wash the vegetables, but he refused, saying he could handle it. She had nothing to do after a day of studying and reading textbooks, so she decided to help out. Suddenly I remembered. I fell asleep on the street and woke up in bed, confused by a strange dream. She dreamed that she was standing against a wall. Liam hugged her from behind, pressed her and kissed her. Her body was filled with energy that then evaporated. Training in a dream? I didn't see his face, but I knew for sure it was him. What kind of fantasy is this? Is it really a prophetic dream? This infuriated her so much that she threw the vegetables on the floor, told him to wash them himself, and flew out of the kitchen. Liam thought she was crazy. Grandma later explained to Monica. He had broken through to the stage of laying the foundations, and she was still lagging behind. She was jealous. It takes time, but he is ahead of her in everything, and it's sad because it seems like she likes him. Turning around, Monica noticed that he wasn't angry with her, which was strange. Liam cooked the food, and it came out great. After breaking through to the foundation stage, his perception was heightened. He even felt Monica peeking. He asked her what she was thinking about, and she was taken aback. How does he know what she's looking at? He told her not to hide. He knows that she is here before. Her affairs did not concern him, but now he is obliged to notice her actions. Let her tell Uncle what worries her, and extended his hand. Monica got scared and ran out of the room, calling him a pervert. Embarrassment overwhelmed her. He just took her hand and she was confused. She tried to calm down, writing it all off as energy, but Liam thought her reaction was childish. He's over 30. She's in her early 20s, different generations. They sat at the table and ate his cooking. Lin Shuhui praised him, but he replied that she had done more for him. Monica was angry. Grandma thought about it and announced, she knows how to remove the blockage of the canals in her granddaughter. She was delighted and asked as if she was ready for anything, but Lin Shuhui pointed at Liam. Monica was stunned. Grandma suggested that Liam become her partner? She screamed that it was impossible. Where did such ideas come from? The grandmother saw that her granddaughter liked the guy. What's wrong with that? Monica jumped off her chair, shouting that she didn't like him. Liam knew. She was in love. Otherwise, she wouldn't be mad that he stopped chasing her. She repeated that she didn't need him, but paired cultivation with him could give something, and softened and agreed. This was just a suggestion from her mentor. Liam told Lin Shuhui that he wanted to become stronger and thought there were better options. He was not just a real cultivator. She decided to come up with something else, surprised. He refused. Monica didn't want to pair up, but she was upset by the refusal. Why didn't he help? Shouldn't men be interested? He missed the chance to get closer to her and build relationships with others. Grandma suggested swimming in the spring on weekends, but his heart remained closed and indifferent. She told Monica to think about cultivation and eat. Who would have thought that a student would reject such a chance? They went to the secret library of Qinyun, but on the way she said that she felt bad. Let them go without her. Seeing Liam is unbearable. Grandma let her rest and went to the library with Liam. The first floor is cultivation items, the second is the training room, the third is books about pills. The first and third floors are always accessible, but practice is important. She gave a stack of books, telling them to read them by next week. Liam was surprised. Too much. Lin Shuhui explained. He started late. Let him try. There won't be any problems. In his past life, he didn't dream of this, but he read nonsense books. She asked why he gave up dual cultivation. A rare chance. Does he hate Monica? Liam couldn't openly say that in his past life, Monica hated him and asked if it was possible to keep it a secret. He doesn't care about falling in love. There are more important things like cultivation and business. Grandma noticed that his breathing was stable. He wasn't lying, he was mature, but love didn't touch him. Could he really be impotent? She froze and then decided that she would help him, and Liam was surprised. It has to do with cultivation, right? They found themselves in a secret library on the second floor in the martial arts department. But the conversation was not about training. Money is important to Liam, but not at all to the mentor. Lin Shuhui pulled out a basket of gifts from the teachers, didn't check how much was in there, but invited him to look inside. Inside was a whole bunch of bank cards with passwords ranging from 6 to 8 digits. Liam was stunned. Could this really be a gift from heaven? Help is provided not only in cultivating immortality. This explained why the mentor was a millionaire. 363 virtues of immortals lead to the peak of development and great wealth. He decided that she was the best woman he had ever met, took the card but promised to return it when the right time came. She waved it off, saying that she didn't care. Take the whole basket. It only takes up space. She doesn't care one bit. Liam was hooked. For the first time in 2 lives, he understood the thoughts of rich ants. This is a dream. After reading the books, he felt relief and agreed to take everything. The next day at class, she taught him to breathe in a new way. Simple, but not quite, and he gave in. Then she let him go because Monica was waiting for him. He thanked her and said that they would see each other in a week at the next lesson. There was silence in the car. Monica was silently angry, and Liam didn't give a damn about her mood. Noticing the tension, he asked what happened to her this time. She exploded, screaming, "Doesn't he understand that this is all because of him?" She asked him to confess directly whether he wanted to break off all ties with her forever. He exhaled in surprise, asking why she even thought of this. Didn't he like her before? Let him tell the truth if he wants to know. Liam confirmed that he used to like her, but that was in the past. Monica asked what now, and he answered that now it's not at all. He looks 20, but in reality he is over 40, and such girls do not attract him. He wants wealth and business. Why waste time on women and children? She called him a hypocrite, shouting, "What about Lily?" He stares at her all the time. Liam got angry and exclaimed, "What kind of nonsense is she talking about again? Lily is an idol, a deity. She should be worshipped and not slandered. Let him not touch their friendship with his words. Monica can insult him, but not her idols. Lily will glorify China in literature, and he will help and protect her path." Monica didn't get it. Is writing novels so cool? If Lily is a goddess, then who is she? Liam smirked, and Monica couldn't understand why he was laughing. Did he really think she was ugly or worse? He replied that he was just chatting and shouldn't take it seriously. They are a mentor and a student. There can't be any other relationship. It's time for her to find the meaning of life. And as the granddaughter of his mentor, she needs to grow up, and he is ready to help with that. Praised Lilia for her novels. The country's soft power is weak. This is a problem. The state is developing without caring about its citizens. Success is needed by society as a whole. Development depends on taxes, but hard power is not enough to influence the world stage. Soft power is needed, and young people like them should look forward to helping the country grow. Monica was confused. What was he even talking about now? Wouldn't it be easier to say that he doesn't like her? Why these long lectures? Liam warned that if she doesn't listen, it will be worse for her. Where is she in such a hurry? On Monday, Monica was sad, her friend Shawnee noticed. Was it really because of her diploma that she was in such a state? No protection at the end of May. The work will be done in full. It is unknown whether they will have time, but Monica must focus on the matter. Then Liam walked past with Lilia and Monica, abandoning her friend, jumped up, getting ready to approach them. Shawnee tried to stop her by asking if she really cared about him that much. Asked her directly if she liked Liam. Monica didn't understand how everything had changed. He was running after her, and now he gave up. How can you leave true love? Shawnee was furious. She regrets him all day long. He chased her for 3 years, not 30, but still a lot. Monica was the pearl of the family, an excellent student, a favorite of the teachers. Why doesn't he even look at her anymore? He refused to even pair cultivation. Grandma wouldn't have suggested such a thing in vain, Monica asked. She didn't do anything bad to him, she just snapped once, but isn't that a test of love? Shawnee objected. Too long and strange test. Monica is talking some nonsense now. She was surprised. Why did her friends say that Liam was a scumbag? Shawnee got it. Liam doesn't like Monica. She rejected him, and now he's pretending to be indifferent. Let him calm down and come running back to her in a couple of days. Monica felt better and agreed. He was pretending, and when he came back, he wouldn't get a chance. Her friend consoled her with words. Meanwhile, Liam went to the bank. Who in their era gives away money without any strings attached? I thought the card from my mentor had 10,000, which was already cool, but it turned out to be as much as 2 million. He was stunned. Even Fai Long didn't give that much. How much money does she really have? Liam reborn, got up at the crack of dawn, wrote programs, became popular, entered the elite, made connections, but isn't he a hero of his time? He grabbed his head, calming down. Money must be earned through work. This amount is not his to spend right and left. It will quickly run out. I decided that he won't take it for now, but will take it when the right time comes for this. Meanwhile, Mr. Lucas posted a report. The company's turnover fell by 10%. If this continues, the network of swindlers will soon lose everything. Electronics are developing, but how to increase popularity among people? I remembered Liam's words. Electronics have their own logistics. They can take off. Be careful. Need help. Call me. He looked at his business card. Was he really telling the truth then? But he spat and put it back in his pocket. I was thinking about Fei Long's technologies. Is it possible to spread them to the West? Meanwhile, Fei Long's director was celebrating. Turnover had peaked, wine was being drunk, and all thanks to Liam, the company had taken off to become an industry leader. What other surprises were in store? Liam was working. He studied the plans of the house and suggested options, confident that in the 21st century he is not so lucky yet. But this can be fixed. They will sign a contract, resolve the formalities in a week, and he will have his own house. It's cool when you have money at hand. Who would have thought that this gentleman would be so generous? Although the houses he chose were not very nice, Some were inhabited by smelly dogs, others were the scene of murders. But Liam still settled on several options and signed for them. How young and green he still is, the girl thought, looking down on him. But she didn't understand. The system compensates for living in such places, and soon housing prices will skyrocket. Buying a house is now the easiest investment. He'll buy them cheap, and after a while the prices will go up, and he won't be left without money, especially since his current house is sold at an affordable price, so he'll save a ton of money. Now he is being laughed at as an idiot, but in a couple of months he will get his investment back. The government will launch a new program, and then everything will pay off. Meanwhile, in the park, early in the morning, as demolition begins, authorities will begin negotiations with homeowners. He knew about this in advance because such negotiations are labor-intensive and greedy people complicate everything. In a past life, many families became rich by being able to negotiate, and those who did not know how sank into the abyss. Liam thought it was better not to argue over a couple thousand yuan, but to take a new home. When prices rise, he will sell at any time, and the early contract will bring in income earlier than others, and he will return the mentor's money quickly. After finishing his training, he went to Professor Harry with his diploma. He read it, said it was not bad, and when asked about edits, he said there was no need. Even Filong's success and the 12 cultivation books did not exhaust Liam as much as this work that took months, but he was not finished. The professor praised the quality and asked about plans. Liam is not only a professional with high moral character and firmness, but also a rare student who patiently makes corrections. You don't meet such people every day. You have to support them. There is no clear plan. He will work, gain experience, open a business. Not self-confidence, but motivation, which is what Harry liked. He suggested meeting up over the weekend to introduce me to someone, and Liam agreed that it wouldn't be a problem. He's not going to slog it out in the office from 9 to 5. If Harry recommends you, it means he believes in you, and with his authority and finance, it's a chance to make connections that can't be missed. After leaving the office, he wrote to his mentor that he was busy at the university on the weekend and would not come. She responded immediately, telling him not to abandon cultivation and to wait for him. But he reassured her that he gets up before dawn every morning to train, so she shouldn't worry. The weekend came and Liam went with Professor Harry to the cool circle of people. High society. There he saw some really big shots and was surprised that a modest university guy had such a status. The professor was recognized everywhere. He introduced his companion. It was Liam, an excellent student with rare academic performance, who supported him in a difficult moment, and now he will gain experience here. Liam was stunned by the many influential people. Harry had never brought students here before, so he saw him as a potential asset. The professor told me not to sweat it out, to act naturally. A regular dinner? Who would have thought that such bosses would gather here? They went to the cafeteria, sat together, and Liam, who was almost 40, felt more comfortable with his peers than with the students. Later they had a drink and chatted like friends, and the professor admitted that despite his youthful appearance, Liam had touched his soul. With his bright head he will go far. He has seen many, but this one is special. Everything will be fine. I regretted that we didn't meet earlier, but it's not too late. Let them call when they have time. Liam wanted to know more about their business, and the boss said no problem, asked if he was planning to join the company, but the guy hadn't decided yet. He gave me a business card, come by any time. Liam went to talk to others. Wang Jianling admitted that he wanted to implement plans and the guy could help. Everyone noticed his charisma. We need to keep in touch. Liam wasn't your typical snake, everything was easy. But he noticed a cold, distant girl in the crowd who had been silent since the beginning of the dinner. This intrigued him. Was he just watching? Their gazes didn't meet, and he even blushed. People clinked glasses and continued drinking, and that girl silently took the book and began to read. Seeing that her dad had drunk too much and fallen asleep, she asked him to wake up, but he muttered not to disturb her. She panicked, not knowing what to do. Uncle Van was also asleep, and she wanted to go to the toilet in hysterics. Dad had never been so drunk. She clutched her dress and almost burst into tears. Liam noticed something strange about her. She was reading from the beginning, and now she stopped. Something was wrong. I thought maybe he wanted to go to the toilet, but why was he acting like a child? She started crying, and he came over and offered to walk her home. The girl stood behind him, scared of every passerby. Liam didn't understand why she was such a coward. He took her to the toilet, said that he would wait outside, and she went, stopping crying. He felt awkward. Who would have thought that he would be walking a stranger to the toilet? She came out and said that she was finished and could go. Liam found her behavior strange, but introduced himself by giving her name. and she became even more scared. She had obviously heard about him before. Liam asked the girl what she liked to read. He saw her lost in a book, a fantasy novel, which surprised him. He was drunk, his head was buzzing, and he himself did not understand what he was talking about. He wanted to ask something, but changed his mind. I've never been so drunk in my entire life. It's better to keep quiet than to run into problems with this strange girl. He walked her to the table and sat her down, noticing the book. The Fallen Princess and the 18 Handsome Men. What a piece of crap, he thought. I've never seen anything worse. I thought I was strange, but it turns out that today's girls like these kinds of novels. Helped Professor Harry get out of the mansion, and the girl ran out after him, asking if he would come to the next dinner. Liam replied that it wasn't a fact. After graduation, he would be swamped with work if he wanted to meet. Let him come to the university. She smiled and agreed. In the car, he leafed through a piece of paper with contacts. Dinner brought useful acquaintances. It is not surprising that people rush here ready for anything. The old men drank too much. I wonder if they'll remember him in the morning. Only the sober will truly appreciate it, otherwise it's all just a show. He understood this in his past life, but what about now? We'll live and see. By the way, thanks to him, the IT business has faltered in the era of high-speed growth. Lucas probably already felt it, but why isn't he looking for him? Smart, far-sighted, he should have realized the consequences. Was he mistaken, or did he lose his business card? Professor Harry was teaching the class, telling the students to hurry up with their corrections. Not to bang on the doors, but to explain everything thoroughly. Liam's friend Zhang was still working on his diploma, and Harry declared that his work looked like a pile of dirt. Zhang wrote it himself, but why didn't he finish it? His friend had nothing to say, but he was honest. In his past life, the defense was chaos due to the death of the professor. Zhang almost failed the second year. Now everything is different, but Zhang will have a hard time. Zhang was very angry about the professor's words and decided to ask Liam how his diploma was going. After all, they had lived together for so many years. He didn't understand whether his friend didn't feel sorry for him at all and asked for help, at least for the sake of their friendship. Liam thought about it and agreed, suggesting to go to the library, to sort everything out and fix it together. Meanwhile, Monica and her friend Shawnee decided to watch Lilia. She was clearly waiting for someone, judging by her face. Shawnee's friend suddenly remembered that Liam seemed to live nearby, and then he suddenly appeared. Everyone was surprised. Did Liam really come to have dinner with Lilia? Shawnee started asking Monica what they should do, and they decided to follow them, to see what would happen next. Lily and Liam sat down at the table, and she told him she had written a new novel. She hoped he would appreciate it. Liam was excited to read her work and thought it was a chance to become friends with a future celebrity. He knew about her talent and often became the first reader of her works, which made Lilia happy. Monica, watching this, became more and more angry. After all, Liam did not even look in her direction. She walked past him with a plate on purpose, but he didn't pay any attention to her, as if she didn't exist. Monica was annoyed that he was so carried away by Lilia, even though she was also his student and they were connected. Her friend Shawnee looked at this anger in surprise and thought that the day was clearly not going well. Monica decided that Liam had simply forgotten about everyone, trying to please Lilia. Shawnee noticed that Monica was lost in her thoughts and began waving her hands in front of her to bring her back to reality. She asked what Monica planned to do after graduation. It was time to decide something. Monica didn't know the answer, but she said she wanted to go back to her grandfather and help him. She was also thinking about graduate school. Shawnee said her family has already found her a job at a bank where she will most likely be a teller. Monica didn't listen to her friend and looked at Lilia again, thinking, is she really more beautiful and talented than her? She was angry because Lilia was into poetry and calligraphy, and everyone considered her a real genius. Lilia's work could even be published, and this infuriated Monica, especially the idea that Liam liked smart girls. He once advised her to study and she tried, but now he seems to have forgotten about her because of Lilia. Shawnee saw her friend's sadness and didn't understand what was happening to her, thinking that Monica was going crazy. She decided to change the subject and asked what Monica thought of Phylong Company, known as the market leader. Shawnee said the company, founded just 3 years ago, is already worth more than $500 million. 2 days ago, she learned something interesting. One of the founders of Phylong was Liam. An ordinary guy from a poor family turned out to be a shareholder with a big account, and in the future he will become even richer. This made Monica even more angry. Was Liam really so successful and she hadn't noticed? He was not only smart, but also fair. He always helped others and even cooked deliciously. Liam finished reading Lilia's novel and found it sincere, simple, and unique. He wanted to express his admiration for her, because he had not encountered this story in his past life. It was fresh and new. He told Lilia that her work was wonderful and promised to buy it after it was completed. Lily was surprised to hear that he considered her a teacher and suggested that he address her simply by her first name. Liam explained that her lyrics touched him deeply and he couldn't help but praise her. He took her hands and declared that it was the best novel of his life, insisting that she send it to print. Lily will become famous, and he is happy that he can support her on this path. She became embarrassed, took her hands away, and admitted that such words made her feel awkward. Liam was so impressed by Lilia's novel that he couldn't hide his emotions. He wanted to help her now because she had chosen 3 publishing houses for publication, but was unsure which was the best. Lilia shared her options: the magazine Haicheng Literature, the monthly Siju, and a small magazine from the Haicheng Publishing House. She clarified that Haicheng was not yet known, but would soon become the host, and asked Liam to advise her on her choice. The guy quickly weighed everything. All the publishers were worthy, but a small magazine seemed more promising to him. He said that Lilia had the right to decide for herself, but his opinion should be taken into account. Lily decided to rely on his instincts. His advice always turned out to be successful. Liam was surprised. Wasn't she going to ask why he thought that? But she just trusted him, and that made him smile. Dinner was over and Monica was getting ready to leave. She was so tense that she barely touched her food. Monica walked past them on purpose, and this time Liam noticed her. He realized that she was angry again, and this worried him a little. Lily also noticed Monica's strange behavior and asked what was going on. Liam waved it off, saying it wasn't worth making a big deal out of. These words hurt Monica. Did she really mean nothing to him? Meanwhile, in the library, Zhang was waiting for Liam to start working on his thesis. They agreed to find the necessary reference book, and Liam went to look for the book. And then he saw Violetta, that same unusual girl from the dinner with influential people. It turned out that she was also finishing university, and her taste in literature was quite peculiar. At the last dinner, she read about 18 guys, and now there were 38. The number was growing rapidly. Liam glanced at the page of her book and found himself unexpectedly captivated. He sat down next to her and read for a few minutes until Zhang began to worry. A friend was looking for him, and when he saw him with Violetta, he got angry. Did Liam really come here to flirt? Violetta closed the book and suddenly noticed Liam next to her. She was surprised, laughed, and said that it looked like a scene from a novel. In her heart, she thought that she liked this guy. Liam asked where she got such a book. Was it from the library? It turned out to be a rare edition from the Song dynasty, and his curiosity was piqued. He explained that he came here to help his friend with his diploma and not to delve into novels. Liam asked Violetta if her thesis had been accepted. She nodded, and he asked what she would do after graduation. Violetta hasn't made up her mind yet. Her father says that she should only do what she likes. Liam noticed that her hands were shaking and wondered, was she nervous? The girl asked if he wanted to chat with her some more. She remembered how he walked her to the toilet and decided that he was a very kind person. Violetta said that she would strive to be the same, but for now she would continue reading and let him go. She had a hard time talking. She was very shy. Then she asked him if he liked books, and Liam said yes. Violetta suddenly asked if he knew the writer Lilia. Liam was surprised. Did she know her too? He told her that Lilia was studying here. He said that Lilia was his mentor, and this was an amazing coincidence. Violetta was amazed. A mentor who brings people together, it's like a fantasy story. Liam said that he read her drafts, trying to speak calmly so as not to embarrass Violetta. She asked him what he liked most about Lilia's works. Liam replied that he liked everything, but particularly singled out the piece, The Tide. At that moment, Violetta suddenly burst into tears. Her emotions changed like the weather. Liam was at a loss as to what to do in this situation. Zhang was not nearby, and he began to calm her down, asking what had happened. Violetta admitted that Liam is her soulmate. He is the first of her circle who liked The Tide. Many of my friends read this book but found it incomprehensible and boring. And Violetta loved this story and asked if Liam wanted to be her friend. She extended her little finger and they shook hands like little children. Such like-minded people are rare and they should stick together. Violetta seemed strange but charming, and Liam liked her spontaneous demeanor. He mentioned that he was friends with Lilia and suggested that the 3 of them get together sometime. Violetta was delighted, exclaiming that friends do not deceive each other. She declared that Liam was now her best friend and hugged him tightly. Liam was embarrassed because they were in the library. The girl let him go and asked if she could just call him by his first name. This confused the guy even more, but he still nodded in response. Liam returned to his room feeling like he had missed something. Then he noticed Zhang, who was angrily spinning around in his chair. Zhang asked if Liam knew what time it was. The guy felt awkward. He completely forgot about his friend. Zhang waved his hand, telling him not to worry. For his joy, he was willing to remain in the background. He even joked that he would take the exam for him, but Liam promised to help tomorrow. Zhang realized that his friend was simply carried away and asked about the girls around Liam. First Monica, then Lilia, and now another one. Is he really dealing with personal matters? Liam was embarrassed, but assured that he would definitely take care of his problem tomorrow. The next day he met Lilia and Violetta in a cozy cafe. He noticed how nervous Violetta was and decided to take the initiative. Liam told Lilia that her fan was dreaming of getting an autograph. Lily was delighted and asked where she could sign. Violetta took out the books and said that any place would do. The waiter brought the food and they chatted happily at the table. Violetta asked Lilia if she wanted to come visit her sometime. She told her that she had bought all of her books, filling 3 shelves with them. Lily was surprised. Where did 3 shelves come from if she only had a couple of works? Violetta explained that she had 100 copies of each book. She complained that the first one was no longer in print, but her dad promised to get copies. Violetta was a real fan and idolized Lilia. After the cafe, Lilia said that she needed to go to the publishing house and left first. Violetta was so inspired that she offered to order her a taxi, but Lilia refused. She promised Violetta that if she needed a new book, let her know. Lilia would bring it and sign it. Violetta considered her a goddess and admired her voice, calling it a blessing. She even surpassed Liam in her love for Lilia. Violetta thanked Liam for introducing her to the writer. She was pleased to have found such friends. She sincerely saw Lilia as a close friend and admired her talent. When Lilia left, Violetta began to stutter again. She told Liam that if he needed anything, he should feel free to come to her. Liam was happy to have a new friend and hoped that everything would work out well. At the university, photographs were taken of all of this year's graduates. Liam was given a photo, another episode after his rebirth. Much hasn't changed, but at least Professor Harry is still alive. It was worth it, and Liam hoped that his life would now be more peaceful. Professor Harry approached him and said that he was always ready to support him in the future. Liam replied that he would definitely contact him and asked the professor not to be shy either. He called Harry a wonderful person and promised to never forget him. Life is full of ups and downs, but Liam was confident that he could overcome any obstacle. His words might have seemed trivial to some, but they touched Harry's heart deeply. Previously, the professor believed that he would not be able to withstand the tests and even thought about giving up everything. However, Liam gave him faith. Life is not always easy, but he is young and can cope with any adversity. Liam expressed his gratitude to the professor and went for a walk with Zhang. He finally helped his friend, and they both successfully defended their diplomas. Liam invited Zhang to celebrate with dinner, but he declined the invitation. Zhang decided to support his father in business matters rather than waste time on partying. He wondered when he and his friends from the dorm would be able to get together again so easily. He suggested that classmates meet every 6 months and fellow students once every 3 years. Before, everyone was close, but now they will be scattered around the world. It would be hard to get used to, but Liam advised him to keep his cool. They are best friends, and Liam told them about his plans for life. He dreamed of great achievements and wished the same for Zhang. Liam assured that he would always support his friend in difficult times. Zhang felt so warm from these words that he could hardly hold back his tears. He also wished Liam good luck, and they shook hands firmly. Both decided to move forward for a brighter future. Liam walked over to the table where the documents were and signed them. He was congratulated. He received compensation and the opportunity to choose housing. The elderly grandmother thanked him for his cooperation and unexpectedly took him aside. Another old woman approached them and said that he had to defend his rights. She was surprised. Did he really sell the house so cheaply without even trying to haggle? Liam explained that he had already made up his mind. House prices were rising right now, and this was a great investment opportunity. It is better to take the money for demolition and invest it than to argue over trifles. He added that this way you can earn more and find a good apartment. The old people objected that they had lived longer and knew it was not worth it. Liam just sighed and moved on, leaving them in their thoughts. Maybe there was something in this guy's words? They began to discuss his idea. A month later, Liam continued his daily training. Suddenly, the phone rang. He was told that the houses were ready and he could inspect them. Everything went quickly. This is a reward for those who first agreed to the demolition. His collaboration brought in nearly 8 million yuan and as many as 10 houses. Liam had great prospects and would soon become richer. He thought, this is real money, earned through knowledge and opportunity. While walking in the park, he noticed 2 old men playing chess. Liam came closer and started offering them his moves. One old man was indignant. Usually one does not interfere during a game, but the second one was delighted with the hints and did not hide his delight. Liam came up with a brilliant move and the old men froze in surprise. The hero realized that with such money it was pleasant not only to live but also to increase wealth. Liam decided to donate 1 million to a square dance fitness charity. It was for middle-aged and older people, which is unusual for its time. Many could have taken the million for themselves, but would not have spent it on a good cause. Behind the scenes, there was whispering about a mysterious genius who had invested in the square dance. It was said that investment in Hong Kong had skyrocketed. Someone noticed that the richest man's grandfather loved square dancing. That's why the money was sent there. The media was eager to interview the mysterious investor, but his identity remained a secret. Liam, meanwhile, was working on the second stage of his plan, creating a mock-up of the project. In 10-20 years, everyone will see how powerful square dancing is. For the next 6 months, he worked hard on cultivation and developed business plans. He waited for the moment when his ideas would begin to bear fruit. Monica was driving and heard the news. A 20-year-old guy invested in a square dance. She found this strange and became lost in thought. Lin Shuhui sat in her office and tried to guess the future. Liam entered the room, assuming that the mentor had taken up fortune-telling for a living. However, he stopped when he noticed familiar facial features. It was Yang Feilong, who turned around and instantly recognized Liam. Ian realized that his company's success was due to Liam's mentor. No wonder Liam rose so quickly. So he is this woman's disciple. Ian decided that fate had brought him together with Liam so that he could become his assistant. He approached Lin Shuhui with a question about the future of his company. The mentor replied that the next 20 years would pass calmly. Yang became worried, asking what would happen after that time. Was there trouble coming, or would Feilong's technology stall? He offered to pay extra for a more accurate forecast, but the lady refused, saying that it was not about money. She explained that one must survive the trials of heaven. She would not reveal more. Lin asked Liam to take the guest out. She said all she could and asked him not to bother her anymore. Liam suggested that Ian talk while they walked. Jan remembered that the lady's student was an outstanding person. He apologized if he had offended her in any way and said goodbye. They left the mansion. Ian asked if Liam could foresee the future. In 20 years, trouble awaits Ian, but Liam did not know the details. The first reason lies in the past, but it is too early to talk about it. Liam advised to move forward more actively. Ian should figure it out on his own. He can contribute to China's development, but it's not all up to Liam. Ian asked whether the disaster would be a blow to the company. Liam admitted that he doesn't know the exact answer because he doesn't work in Feilong, but Jan decided to remember his words. Great people do not give bad advice. He thanked Liam for his support and asked if he could call him by his first name. From the first meeting, he knew Liam was a valuable ally. Ian grabbed his hands, glad that he was the mistress's student. Liam noticed that Ian was too carried away by his fantasies. But Ian insisted that Liam was the future of China and he would not leave it. They agreed to chat later. Jan realized that next time he would ask for more attention to be paid to his situation. He left, looking at the sky. What will happen in 20 years? At that moment, Monica unexpectedly approached Liam. She said that she would be training here for the next 6 months and asked with interest what his plans were. Liam thought for a moment and replied that he would work hard to cultivate. He also intends to find ways to help Monica with her body stagnation. Monica was surprised. Was he really going to help her? But he was her senior teacher, so it was natural, he added. He also planned to visit her grandmother. Let Monica train for now and he would figure it out. The girl was shocked. He would help her with her cultivation? She was glad that she had finally been noticed. Monica knew that stagnation could only be overcome through paired cultivation. Was Liam really ready to study with her? He had pushed her away and been cold before. Then he had been talking to other girls, making her jealous. She thought he might be doing it on purpose and got angry, deciding to find out right now. At this time, Liam met Lin Shuhui. The teacher asked if he had discussed the future with Yan Feilong in 20 years. Liam wondered how she knew, but they were talking so loudly that she heard everything and demanded to know the details. Lin noticed that something was fishy here. Let him admit whether he sees the future or is reincarnated. Liam was stunned. How did the mentor figure it out so quickly? Does she really have a connection with higher powers? He began to justify himself, promising to explain everything. But Lin Shuhui interrupted him. It didn't matter to her, she admitted. She knew the current him, and the past didn't matter. Now he is her student, and this is the most important thing for her. Liam thought the teacher was surprisingly calm. That's what it means to be a great person. He had done the right thing by not revealing too much. He had only mentioned the hardships that had to be endured. Everyone had their own destiny, she had noted. A chance word could ruin everything. Lin wanted to remind people that it was important to keep things in moderation. She warned that if a disaster occurred, she would not intervene. Liam thanked her for her guidance. So she had come to support him. not to interrogate him. Lin was not surprised by his transformation. Perhaps there were other people like him in the world. She left, telling him to come to Qingyun the day after tomorrow. Liam agreed, excited about the new prospect. He had achieved a lot last time. He believed that this time, too, everything would go well. A few hours later, Liam went in search of his mentor. He walked around the entire area, but did not find her anywhere. Suddenly, someone jumped up from behind and hit Liam hard in the back. He collapsed into a puddle soaking wet. Liam began to look around, trying to figure out who dared to do this. "Who is so brave?" he shouted, demanding that the attacker show himself. He had almost reached a new level of cultivation. No one could slip past him unnoticed. "Unless it's an ambush for the teacher." Liam loudly declared that if the target was Lin Shuhui, there was no way to get through him. And then he saw her. It was the mentor herself. He was surprised, and she explained that one must appreciate the present moment. The past and future don't matter. These are the laws of cultivators. In a real ambush, he would have already been lying in the bushes, but now this is just a lesson in experience. She forgave him for his carelessness. Lin asked if he knew that her mentor had given her a similar test. It was a lesson she had not forgotten. She asked how badly the blow had hurt him. Liam proudly replied that he had not. But then his nose gave away the lie by stretching out. Lin Shuhui walked closer and stepped into the puddle. She pushed him back slightly, almost knocking him over. The mentor said that she would help him recover. Killing for treasure and stealing were common in the cultivation world, but he couldn't follow that path. He couldn't harm others, even if she was his teacher. Even she can't be trusted completely, here's proof. Liam didn't expect to hear that. Is backstabbing really normal? The teacher behaved unusually. She moved even closer, pressing her body against him. Liam felt embarrassed, barely containing himself. His breath caught in his throat, his heart pounding. As he inhaled, he caught her scent, similar to the aroma of a young girl, but he pulled himself up short. This was the teacher. What was he thinking? He called himself shameless in his thoughts. They were just talking about life, exchanging experiences. He ordered himself to calm down. Lin explained that she had brought him here for a reason. His body was still weak and needed strengthening. Cultivation was not only chi and mind. Without a strong body, one could not reach the heights. If he neglects physical training, there will be no progress. The channels opened after the source, but this is not enough. New efforts are needed. The mentor retreated a few meters. Liam breathed a sigh of relief. The tests were over. She announced that they would train together today. Lin Shuhui said that the lesson would be special. She unbuttoned her shirt and called Liam to the spring. They sat down on a rock, preparing to concentrate on the process. Liam felt awkward and embarrassed. The teacher told him to cast aside his doubts. "Maybe his back still hurts?" she asked. But he replied that it was not about pain. After reincarnation, his goal was career, not love. Even a mentor would not make him change his mind. She shrugged, saying she didn't care, so he had nothing to be embarrassed about. Liam took off his clothes and joined her in the spring. They began to absorb the energy of the water. He noticed that Lin looked completely calm. She was not embarrassed by the lack of clothes. They concentrated and continued training. After hours, the teacher said that was enough for today. For Liam, the task proved exhausting. His face was flushed. His breathing was ragged. He was afraid to even sniffle in front of her. He had no strength left for words. Lin Shuhui had been watching him the entire time. She recognized that he was a very unusual student. Many would have broken sooner. He lasted longer than all her charges. But Liam was exhausted and instantly fell asleep from fatigue. A few hours later, he came to in his room. He opened his eyes abruptly, feeling aches all over his body, as if he had been working all night without a break. The body was swollen, the back ached as if an elephant had walked over it. Then Monica came in and said that his grandmother had brought him here. He had a fever and she stayed to look after him, but Monica immediately clarified that she was not going to care. The temperature rose above 39. The pills did not help. Grandma and Grandpa went out for tea. It all fell on Monica's shoulders. If it weren't for her, Liam would have burned up from the heat. He sincerely thanked her for her help. Monica was touched by his words. But then she became nervous again. He just trained and she's already in such a state. She gasped and turned away. Liam noticed that she almost hit him. Monica threw a towel in his face. Let him take care of himself, otherwise he will die without her. She turned around and left. But despite her irritation, she seemed calmer than before. Had his words really hurt her that much? Liam thought that maybe she would stop chasing him. 2 days later, he woke up feeling alive, the fever gone, his body cleansed from that hard workout. The teacher had not yet announced when the next lesson would be. He remained in the dark, But what had happened did not frighten him. Compared to death and rebirth, this was a trifle. Adversity and hardship seemed to him trifles that could be easily overcome. He dressed quickly, determined to move on. Liam headed towards the source, hoping to feel its energy again. But as he came closer, he froze. Someone was already there. Looking closer, he recognized Monica sitting on a rock. She concentrated on absorbing the energy, completely immersed in the process. Liam decided not to interfere and took cover behind a tree. He watched with bated breath, not believing his eyes. Weren't Monica's channels blocked? Where did she get such cultivation ability? He wanted to leave, to run somewhere nearby, but she suddenly turned around. Liam was confused, thinking that he had been noticed. His heart started beating faster. Did she really see him? But no, Monica just stood up and turned to face the stone. She held her hand out as if she was about to do something. Liam watched, not understanding her intentions. Suddenly she tensed up, concentrating all her strength in her body. With a sharp blow of her hand, she split the stone in two. The shards flew in all directions, and Monica was breathing heavily. Liam froze, shocked by what he saw. She always claimed that she couldn't cultivate, but what was it if not skill? Liam couldn't believe that in front of him was a completely different Monica, not the one he knew. Maybe he ended up in another world? Or has she been hiding her abilities all this time? Monica did not stop and continued her exercises. She stood on one hand and began doing push-ups confidently. Liam looked at her, unable to look away from surprise. Her movements were strong and precise, and she moved on to new tasks without losing her rhythm. In his mind, he called her a real beast. Even his body couldn't boast such power. Monica's successes shone brightly like the sun on a cloudless day. How much did she have to overcome? Such an achievement at an early stage is almost miraculous. For a cultivator at the foundation stage, splitting a stone is not difficult. But for Monica, an almost ordinary girl, this is a feat. She obviously trained in secret, away from prying eyes. Liam was touched by her tenacity and admired it, but he immediately felt ashamed. Was he not working hard enough? Monica had overtaken him in this incredible dash. He clenched his fists, deciding that he would work even harder. He would prove to himself that he could surpass her. Liam rushed to his mentor, wasting no time in sharing what he had seen. He admitted that today he realized how little he knew about Monica. He used to think of her as an ordinary girl with a narrow outlook, thinking only of herself. But her amazing success changed his whole perception. Even her grandmother watched her development, despite Monica's sometimes arrogant nature. In fact, she turned out to be hardworking and strong. She was taught from childhood that cultivation was not for her, that she would not succeed, but she didn't give in, proving everyone wrong. Liam realized how wrong he was. He was blind to how amazing Monica was. Not only did she get excellent grades in her studies, but she was always ahead in sports. Her intelligence, beauty, and kindness drove guys crazy. Liam suddenly remembered how in his past life he fell in love with her after seeing her running on the court. He felt unworthy of her then. Lin Shuhui listened carefully to his story. She noted that she was not saying this out of sympathy. She wanted him to understand the truth. Now that Liam has achieved great heights, she hopes that he does not waste his potential. The guy nodded seriously and promised his mentor to train hard. The next morning, he kept his word. A month later, his body was as strong and fit as Monica's. He was proud of himself, but then the phone rang. It was Yang Feilong, and his voice was shaking with panic. Ian shouted that Liam had warned him of trouble in 20 years. He couldn't forget those words. Would Liam give him advice on how to avoid danger? Ian offered 10% of Feilong shares as a reward, but Liam declined the offer. He didn't need the money, he said. It wasn't the most important thing in life. Jan admitted that the guy was right. He apologized for his words, hoping that he had not offended him. Liam decided to take advantage of the moment to have a chat. He advised Ian not to dwell on the future. It's better to focus on the present. Right now, Jan's company is doing well. There are prospects, but over time, only a few companies will take their products. Logistics will be a weak point, and it is worth thinking about it now. Jan was glad to finally get at least some kind of hint. If he improves his logistics, it will be a reliable protection. Let the clients get quality services at an affordable price, then their trust will be strengthened. If he works for the good of the country, without deviating from the path, everything will work out well. The main thing is not to rush and carefully consider each step. Liam ended the call and Ian was lost in thought. The boy's words made him look at things differently again. Only Liam could point him in the right direction. These thoughts awakened the dreamy side of Jan. He decided to work for the country and its future. He realized that there was no need to rush and that reasonable actions would lead to success. Thanks to the young mentor, Jan felt a surge of energy and confidence. Liam decided to start training hard when suddenly his mentor approached him. She asked if he was ready for today's session. If all went well, he would move from the purification stage to the foundation stage. But failure would require more effort and delay the next attempt. Liam nodded, assuring that he was ready. However, after the last training session, he had been lying around with a fever for 2 days. Will he cope now? Lin Shuhui did not listen to his doubts. She told him to get dressed and follow her without delay. Liam tried to protest that he hadn't completed 129 squats, but the instructor waved him off, saying that he would make up for it later and there was nothing to worry about. They headed towards the building with the mysterious door, which emitted an enigmatic aura. Lin extended her hand and the door glowed with light. She placed her palm on it, the lock clicked, and the passage opened. They entered a dark corridor. It was a realm of illusions, full of hidden threats. The teacher warned him to go straight and avoid the monsters. If he was caught, then... She didn't finish her sentence, and at that moment, Liam felt a blow to his back. He fell forward, hitting the cold floor. What was going on? Why was the teacher pushing him without even explaining it fully? Were the monsters already here, ready to destroy him? He looked around, his heart pounding. But as soon as he turned around, a white tiger appeared in front of him. The beast growled, showing sharp fangs. Liam stepped back, trying to stop the shaking in his body. He whispered to himself that it was better not to provoke the monster. But the tiger advanced, its eyes blazing with anger, and then it rushed after him. Suddenly a message appeared before my eyes. Run to the finish line in half an hour. The penalty for failure was listed, but instead of text, there were only question marks. This worried him. Liam jumped over the strange obstacle blocking his path. He slid down, barely keeping his balance, and continued running. It was good that he had recently been carrying water and running. It helped. There were 10 minutes left. Fear drove him forward. What if the punishment was death? After reincarnations, he could not lose everything so stupidly. The teacher's words echoed in my head. I can't let the monster grab me. A light from an open door glimmered ahead. Liam was delighted to see that the finish line was near. He rushed towards the exit, feeling the tiger's breath behind him. The beast jumped with its mouth open, but at that moment, Lin Shuhui appeared in front of it. She calmly announced that the test was complete. Liam froze, breathing heavily. The teacher smiled and congratulated him on his success. Lin Shuhui looked at Liam in surprise. He was very promising. She didn't expect him to handle the task so well. The guy impressed her, but his obsession with survival saved him. Without it, he wouldn't have escaped the tiger. Liam was breathing heavily, still recovering from the stress, and suddenly wondered what would happen if he failed. What punishment awaited him? The teacher chuckled and explained that in the realm of illusions there is no real punishment. The monsters here are menacing, but they won't cause any harm. It's all just a figment of the imagination. However, such a run clearly raised his heart rate to 200, and that was part of the idea. She admitted that she had deliberately cut off the sentence at the beginning. She wanted to make him nervous and give it his all. The plan worked. He passed. Now Liam has earned the right to seriously engage in cultivation. Lin told him to follow her. She will teach him mental techniques to lay the foundation. Liam wondered if they would read books. Why didn't they go to the library then? But the mentor reminded him that he was her student, and everything was simpler than it seemed. She had her own methods, and he would soon learn them. They approached the pond, and Lin ordered him to take off his clothes. Liam froze. Joint training again? Could this really be paired cultivation? Excitement overwhelmed him. He did not dare to say it out loud, but the thought did not leave him. Was this too bold? The teacher noticed his anxiety and immediately calmed him down. No pair cultivation, he got it all wrong. They will simply enter the water and absorb the energy as before. She told him to concentrate and listen to her carefully. If he got distracted, there could be trouble, and no one needed that. Liam exhaled, trying to calm his heartbeat, and stepped into the water after her. Lin Shuhui came closer and told him to focus on her voice. She began to explain that the technique was based on the energy of heaven and earth. It combined the 5 elements, as well as yin and yang, and was the path to immortality. His heart must become fluid like water and his mind unshakable like a rock. Only then will he comprehend the essence. Reason is the key to his inner strength. Today she will give him a piece of her heart to lay the foundation. He must appreciate this gift and not miss the opportunity. Liam closed his eyes and concentrated. It seemed to him that he had entered the world of immortals. When he opened his eyes, he saw the whole world from the grass to the stars. The universe opened up before him, even the Milky Way shone on the horizon. He found himself in an inner world where everything was possible. Suddenly, the teacher's voice burst into his consciousness, demanding that he wake up. Liam came to, blinking in confusion. Where had he just been? What were those strange images that flashed before him? Lin explained that this was the beginning of laying the foundations. Now he can cultivate on his own, but the main thing is to keep a clear mind. When the foundation is strong, they will begin new training, and he can ask if something is unclear. Liam nodded, promising to seek advice. At that moment, Monica approached him. She immediately noticed the changes. A fiery aura was emanating from his body. Realizing that he had reached the stage of laying the foundations, she congratulated him. He had become much stronger, and it irritated her. Monica remained in place, her progress frozen. Liam quickly reassured her, telling her that she shouldn't worry. He would find ways to help other than dual cultivation and hoped to solve her problem. Monica waved it off, asking not to worry about her. She thanked him but decided to consult with her grandmother. During all this time, she never showed her feelings. Apparently, that incident suppressed her. Liam returned to his room and began to study the materials he had collected. Having finished his business, he found Lilia's number in his notebook. I wrote her a letter asking how things were going. She replied that everything was better than before. Lilia moved to a new place, changed her number, and broke off old contacts. Things at home got better. Liam shared that he dedicates every day to training. As soon as she finds time, they will meet up and go somewhere together. Lily was surprised. Does he really train every day? She doubted it, but Liam wasn't upset. It didn't matter because he didn't lie to his idols. Suddenly, I received a message from an unknown girl. Liam thought, after all, in their time, many people make friends online. Why shouldn't he try it? He started chatting with a stranger and soon realized after a few messages that it was Violetta. In their era, people often hide behind pseudonyms, so he didn't recognize her right away. Who would have thought that she would be so talkative online? They got to talking, and Liam revealed that he had recently completed adaptation training, although he couldn't give any details due to a confidentiality agreement. He mentioned that he works hard, and Violetta admitted that she also tries to keep up the pace. The next morning, Liam was back to training and doing his business, determined to move on. After 2 months, his progress had increased significantly. He asked his mentor to evaluate how far he had come. Lin Shuhui struck him without further ado, testing his endurance. Liam resisted, but she shook her head, saying that it was not enough. He needed to work harder. He took up her challenge and within 2 months had solidified his form even further. With only 2 months left in the year, he was approaching the final stages of laying the foundations. Once he had overcome it, he could receive a golden pill as a reward for his perseverance. He opened the news and learned that Yang Feilong had followed his advice and started to form a logistics team. Lucas was also doing well in his tasks, but rumors hinted at problems to come. All these external events seemed to be part of someone's plan, as if someone was controlling the process. Liam decided not to interfere, to let everything take its course. But one thought kept bothering him. Why was Director Qiandu silent? Did he really not care? After all, Liam gave him the disc with the program. Maybe the reception didn't deliver it? Several months ago, the disc finally reached the director through the reception desk. He took it in his hands, turned it over, but didn't understand anything. He asked his assistant who had brought it. He was told that he was a senior student, full of ambition and energy. The director was not moved by this. He ordered the disc to be put back on the shelf and returned to his business. Later, he gave a lecture on the future. The rapid growth of the Internet of Things is an important trend. The Internet will become a news filter for everyone. The index engine will become a powerful traffic portal, a strategic asset for Qiandu. In the next 5 years, they plan to implement the slogan, "If something happens, ask Qiandu." Internet wars are already on the horizon, and even Feilong will depend on their platform. The commercial value of Qiandu will skyrocket. The director proudly proclaimed, "Long live their company." He needs new partners, and Feilong will be one of them. The audience wished him success. Meanwhile, Liam's cultivation had undergone significant changes. He began to study fencing, master magic, and memorize spells. The progress was impressive. In less than half a year, he was approaching the final stage of laying the foundation. The mentor was happy to work with such a gifted student. Now he had to prepare for a new test. Success would open the way to the pill stage. Some people get stuck at the final stage of laying the foundations, even if everything went smoothly up until then. Liam nodded, assuring that he understood everything and would work even harder. The test will be similar to the last one, Lin Shuhui explained. There is no need to worry about physical fitness, everything will be fine. But Liam still couldn't figure out what this simulated environment was. It seemed too real, almost indistinguishable from reality. Lost in thought, he asked his mentor what Monica was doing now. He hadn't seen her for a long time and began to worry about her. Lin replied that Monica was focusing on her physical fitness. She was studying for her postgrad. After Liam rejected her, she changed a lot. The trials will take time, so he had better get his affairs in order. But Liam objected that nothing was more important than cultivation. He decided to go to training. Walking around the mansion, he noticed Monica at the table. She thoughtfully solved the problem, bending over a sheet of paper. It didn't seem too serious, and Liam decided not to disturb her. 3 days later, he headed towards the huge portal. Other cultivators had already gathered there. This time, he would not be alone. The world beyond the portal was about to open up. Liam stepped inside with his mentor. Lin Shuhui was rumored to be one of the few who could help others in cultivation and develop new techniques. They said that becoming her student was a great honor, but she herself did not look for students, which surprised everyone. The mentor announced that their destination was an island. They had to survive there for a week to pass the test. If they encounter a monster along the way and lose too much blood or receive a fatal blow, the test will fail. They would be instantly teleported back. It was risky, but their real bodies would be safe. The tests were becoming more and more humane, which was good news. Liam couldn't afford to lose. He was the only student of the great teacher. Focusing, he stepped forward, ready to face any challenges the island would throw at him.